Good morning. It's Saturday, the 11th of November, 2017. It's Veterans Day here in the United States. Welcome to Shootin' the Breeze. I'm your host, TakersMinion, and I'm joined by my co-host, my friend, and my partner in this show from the land of the rising sun, which is after midnight, Mr. Dr. Senju. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening. Good morning to all of you. It's actually it's actually 1 in the morning for me now. So
Wow. Sorry to
it's,
keep you up so late.
what am I supposed to complain about? I'm doing this on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, so I'm enjoying myself. So at least we did change our schedule on a Saturday. So
Yes, we did. It should work better for us, so we hope.
hopefully. Damn, you gave me a heart attack. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I'm a little miffed that I didn't get my booze and cake yesterday.
Oh, and
As most of you know, I'm a former Marine, and yesterday was the 242nd birthday of the Marine Corps. So to my fellow brothers and sisters in the Corps, happy birthday and Semper Fidelis to you guys, to you all.
Happy Veterans Day to all. And personally, yes, TakersMinion is also an ex-Marine, and so happy Veterans Day to you. Former Marine. Okay.
Exes are ones that are kicked out.
Ow. Okay. Correction. Former Marine. Former Marine. You have not been kicked out. You were honorably discharged.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. But again, happy Veterans Day. Even if I haven't really said it, I already said it on Twitter. But happy Veterans Day, TakersMinion.
Thank you very much, sir. It was nice to get that message.
I didn't know that it was it was Veterans Day, so the more I know, better yet use it anyway.
The actual calendar day of the month of November is the 11th.
Yeah, which is today.
which was yesterday for you. It's today for me still.
Yeah, so technically I was in the right for posting that, but hey,
yes, you were. Let's not argue semantics, for Christ's sake, okay?
Okay.
Or I'm going to start calling you somebody because of the way you're getting with the I'm sorry's. And they know who they are.
Sorry. Was that again?
Okay. They know who they are.
Yep. They do. Anyway, let's get this show on the road, shall we?
Yes.
Well, the week of WWE wrestling, or do we want to touch on everything that has happened in the world of wrestling as a whole? Because there's a lot to talk about.
Yes, there is.
There's a lot to talk about. News with a lot of ROH, with ROH finally going to streaming services. Or let's talk about the biggest news for today: 30 at 30 with Ric Flair.
Yeah, 30 for 30 with Ric Flair. What a show! I watched it Wednesday.
You did?
Yeah, I had it on my DVR, so because I was sleeping and heading into work when it was on, or sleeping when it was on here. And I will tell you, it was to me, it was great. There's a lot of mixed responses out there about it. I mean, I think they told enough of Rick's story of, he said that he became addicted to wrestling. I don't think it was so much the wrestling. I think it was the spotlight, but that's, it is what it is. And his hard living and everything is in the end cost him. He had a price to pay, and he paid the price. My personal belief, and I think it's Rick's as well. I'm not knocking you, Rick. You're kicked out of being near death, but I think in the long run, that possibly Reed was the price in the end.
Yeah,
that he had to pay for it.
I mean, I did watch a little bit of highlights for it, but considering the reactions and the all the comments about what the documentary is, it's just a bittersweet. It leaves a bittersweet taste in my mouth. It's sweet because it's quite possibly the most well thought out and well put out documentary of Ric Flair. Bitter in a sense because, well, with that comes the price of bearing a few of his troubled past, his drinking problems, the death of his youngest son, and what he did afterwards was just listening to it and watching it is just and taking it in was just sad. It's ugly, but it's the ugly truth, and that I
Yeah.
think I think that's what should be known as for the life of a wrestler as a whole.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at it too, what Trips did,
Mhm.
Triple H did, you know, he was trying to help get Reed in, and Reed kept coming back dirty. And then after the death of Reed,
Mhm.
he got a hold of Rick and basically got Rick to go in and get help.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is all stuff that I knew nothing about. Nobody knew.
Mhm.
This is one of those things that was kept in the dark by everybody.
Mhm.
And that is something, Yeah, I'm surprised that didn't leak out on the interwebs back then, but maybe there wasn't enough people inside that could get the information out.
Mhm.
But, as much as, sometimes Trips is as the authority on WWE TV, we can't stand the bastard. But when you hear him do something like hear about him doing something like this, and you hear it from the man himself, it's like he's really not that bad of a guy.
Yeah. I mean, you can comment a lot on Triple H's ways, personality, character, way back 10 years ago, probably 15 years ago, but that was the on-screen character, probably on-screen persona. Off-screen, he has done a lot of things that could kind of sort of be seen as a way to mend bridges and rebuild back past relationships that he has broken and all that. But
Well, yeah, you look at what he did. You look at what, and I'm gonna say Paul Levesque because that's his real name.
okay,
You can look at what Paul Levesque did with Bruno,
Mm.
getting Bruno into the Hall of Fame.
Mhm.
There was there's rumor out there. I don't know how much is true, but there was a lot of rumor that Bruno and Vince had a falling out, and they didn't speak for a lot of years.
Yep.
And he had been asked several times, and he kept turning it down. And it was Paul that got him in.
It was him that actually
See,
kind
that's
of
the difference. That's the thing I can understand. Triple H, Paul Levesque, they're both the same physical person.
yes.
But Paul Levesque, the executive, is a lot different than Triple H, the character.
Yeah. I mean, here's the long and short of it. Everyone has already said this to death that but most of the characters that we see on TV are mostly their personalities turned up to 11 or possibly 12. You can say that in real life he has a little bit of douchiness, he has a little bit of attitude or whatnot, but number one, when you grow old, your perspective changes a lot and you
Tell me
kind of
about it.
gain a lot. Yeah, you kind of gain a lot of experience, and you learn from past experience. And well, sometimes burnt bridges aren't necessarily totally burnt. You can always build it back again. You can
Yeah.
try to reach out, but in the end, if it's not happening, it's not happening. It's not happening. And I think Triple H as Paul Levesque, the company man of WWE, has done quite well in doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, okay, but then again, back to the Ric Flair thing. What did you actually like about the whole thing? Because
I
you
love it.
watched the whole thing.
I watched the
What?
whole thing, and I mean, at the end of it, my eyes were not dry.
You said that a lot about it. But yeah, what's good about it? What's good about it?
I got to know the man, Richard Flair,
Mm.
a little better. And I
Mhm.
didn't realize just how much he played a part of my, yes, he's only what? He's 68 and I'm 53. He's 15 years older than me.
Mhm.
But he did a lot of things that I always dreamed of doing, but I never really wrapped my head around it until that night. And it's like, he was the kind of guy you love to hate.
Yeah.
You hated to love him, but you loved to hate him.
Mhm.
So, in he was even though he was champion, he's been world champion 16 times and all this stuff. You know, you look at his career overall. You don't know what his record is. He doesn't care. You know, he probably lost more than he won. He even
Mhm.
says that.
Mhm.
But he was also a great carpenter,
Agreed. I
and
mean,
that's one thing. You know, I've taken time to look back and think, and that's what that 30 for 30 did. Is it took me and made me look back and think.
I agree. I mean, taking some of the words into account, a comment on a post did actually did did very well to actually justify the whole thing about what's good, because it brought him back to basically his childhood. It's just it's just the childhood where you see Ric Flair in his prime. He doesn't really. He's the greatest wrestler, not because he's great. He made everybody look good. He made him look good. He made his partner look good. His rival, his enemy in front of the ring. He made them look good.
Yep.
Because he made everyone look great, not at the expense of himself. He comes up. Both of them will come out looking stronger, looking much better coming in
You
than
know,
coming in.
they talk about the hour Broadways he used to do. And for
Hmm.
those of you not in the know, an hour Broadway is a 1 hour time limit draw.
Uh-huh.
And you know, he would make the top face because he was always the heel. He would always make the top face of the territory he went into look like he could just about do it. But in the end, the bell rings and the match is a draw. That he believed was his job, to build other people up. Even as a champ, it was his job. And you got to give that man a lot of credit.
Mhm.
Like him or not,
Eh,
he did what he did.
He did, and basically he actually brought wrestling up to a level that nobody could imagine at that time. Because you'd speak at that, I think you'd agree on this one. At that time, wrestling was a little bit of a low fish. There's not many people who were recognizable, and suddenly Ric Flair comes in and elevated the rest of the people, or the rest of the wrestlers.
Yep, that is true.
Yeah, but even with the highlights that I watched, it's a little bittersweet for me. I'd hope I can catch it over here in its entirety. Hopefully, there's somewhere I can go and catch that. But in its whole, I think it was a bittersweet, and it was a well thought out documentary about the life of Ric Flair. Of course, people would say a lot of things that, well, the man Richard Fleer is an asshole, is a bad guy overall, but the character Ric Flair he plays is fantastic, awesome, great, legendary, even if you want to put it that way. So,
Yeah, he is.
mhm.
You know, and it's going to be, you know, it's in the thing that stuck out the most, that the most in most poignant thing I feel he said
Mm,
in the end was when they asked him, "How do you want to be remembered when you are gone?" And he said, "I could say the standard statement of, you know, great father, great husband." He goes, "But that would be a lie.
mhm.
I just want to be known as the greatest performer to ever lace up a pair of boots."
Mhm.
And I think he has that. I think he has that title. There's no one, I don't think there's anyone that's going to have the longevity that he had
Mhm.
and the ability to make people look as good as he was able to make them look.
Of course.
Even
I
when
mean,
he was, you know, in TNA and he was doing all that crazy shit, you know, he made his opponents look good,
mhm. Agree.
you know.
I mean,
And go
you
ahead.
could say a lot of. I mean, you could say a lot of things about the man himself, like I said, but what he has done for the wrestling business overall in his entirety, it
Won't ever be
it deserves
duplicated.
yeah, it deserves great attention. It deserves special honorable mention because he has done quite a lot. I mean, this is the guy who literally got into the WWE Hall of Fame twice, even though the other one was with the Four Horsemen. He did that.
Does that really matter though?
I don't think in the long term of things it doesn't. He's already proven. He's already made his name. I mean, you'd agree that he already has done enough to cement his status as
Oh yeah,
just that
his
legendary.
status is legend.
Yeah, he has done just that. He has done quite enough.
You know,
And going forward,
some of his greatest opponents. You know, and he talks highly of them. He talks of Dusty,
mhm,
the legend, and he talks about Ricky Steamboat, who was a Dave. He has said before there are matches from the 70s that he had with Ricky Steamboat that were better than the ones he had in the early 90s
mhm.
with Steamboat. And to see those two go in a 2 out of 3 falls match for an hour at full speed the entire time is something you would not see today.
I mean, uh, but then again, going forward with the whole thing, uh, I think the best thing that Rick could do is just now sit back and watch his handiwork, watch what he has done bear fruit, and he's already doing well with his daughter Charlotte Flair, who's actually carving out a name for herself.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, and all he needs to do is just sit back and watch, enjoy the ride as a fan, because he's already
Yep.
done enough. At 68, I mean, at
68
68, he
years
has
old.
done terribly enough.
He's done
And
everything that could be done.
yes, and uh, and on I don't know how to say this properly, but on a sense, I'm glad that we got this documentary at the time when he's still here with us,
Yes.
because think of the tone and think of the way that they would present this out should if we lost if we lost Rick. Now, I'm not saying that on the negative side of saying no, that's not what I meant. It's just that at least in this live point we get to hear from a legend, Ric Flair himself.
Yes.
Pure unadulterated blunt truth from him. I don't know whether it's the 100% truth or not, but it's an interesting it's a very, very, very interesting take from the man himself.
It is. That it is.
Mhm.
And it what I would give to have had Dusty speak on Rick.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, and yeah, have Dusty speak. Uh, you know, Steve Borden, aka Sting, spoke about Rick and what he
Mhm,
did,
mhm,
and it was, like I said, it was very in depth. He made Sting into what Sting was.
mhm.
So there's that.
I mean, like, I don't know whether there's a lot of things that we can even say just to say just to say anything about Ric Flair. I mean, I bet you'd give anything plus more just for 10 minutes just to speak with Ric Flair.
Oh God, I would love to speak with him.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can talk about, even for about 10 minutes or just half an hour.
Yeah.
What would have been. But anyway, that was I mean, it was 30 by 30 is a 30 by 30 with Ric Flair is in to me, I think personally it's a very interesting take on the wrestling character Ric Flair himself, a behind the scenes look of his life. It's uh it divides opinions, I think. On an honest note, it divides people's opinions, but I still think it's an interesting watch. If you can catch it, catch it. I hope I can catch it in its entirety. I only got bits and pieces, but that's all I can say. Yeah,
I
that's all
still have
I
it on my DVR. If I can figure out a way to email it to you, I will.
highly appreciate it. If there's anything, that will be fun. But in any case, let's move on from 30 by 30 to a little bit more of a little bit more on an interesting take of the week that was wrestling. What else can we touch about today? Do we need to
Well,
touch
like I
about?
said, I didn't watch Raw or SmackDown this week
Okay,
again, so we
again.
can. I do know some of the stuff.
Hmm.
You know, the more I know more about SmackDown because hallelujah, praise the Lord, Jinder Mahal is no longer WWE champion.
How surprising that a WWE title champion switch has happened in a SmackDown live show. I mean,
First of all, that's a rare occurrence in and of itself.
Yep, number one. And number two, reminder, this is not a house show. This is an actual televised TV series.
Yes.
Sure, I think you guys would nitpick when saying that, oh, this has ulterior motives. There's an intentional, probably because they wanted Jinder Mahal to win the title in India. But I'm looking at this as a fan rather than someone who has a lot of views on everything in the world of wrestling. And like I said, and as a fan, I enjoyed the fuck out of this.
Yeah, I heard about that and I was like, you're kidding. Oh my God.
I
But
mean,
like I said, though, like I said to you, on Twitter and stuff, this needed to happen a couple of months ago.
true.
He's not moved the needle in India as much as they thought he was going to.
Oh no, not at all.
And I said that a couple of months back that because like I said, my boss his family is from India and he was born here in the States, but he goes back to India every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that when he was over there, he asked about it. He asked around about it. He said they didn't really care because he's not from there.
Yes, folks. Jinder Mahal is not actually Indian. He has Indian heritage. He's born from Canada, my friend.
Exactly.
He's born in Canada. I'm sorry. But, well, here's a surprising bit, though. I think this is Mahal's best match.
And you know who carried the match? It was AJ.
Exactly. Of course, again, yes, this comes against a man famous for really milking out the best out of anyone. Even even with a one-dimensional wrestler like Jinder Mahal. Yes, I said it. A one-dimensional wrestler like Jinder Mahal. He's, like I said, he's one-dimensional in a way that you can only see him wrestle with one kind of style. That's it. It's a slow, methodical style which bores you to death.
Yes. He plods along from A to B to C to D, and just it's like, can I go get something to drink and not miss anything? Yeah, I can. So you go to the refrigerator, grab a beer or whatever.
And then you won't miss any kind of action when you get back. Oh, they're still doing this?
This is a guy that could take a match where he's given 15 minutes and make it feel like an hour Broadway, for Christ's sake.
He could have been, I think. I mean, not to knock on Jinder Mahal because I think we can agree that we're both Jinder Mahal advocates. We both support his first win back in Backlash.
Yeah, we supported it. We thought it was a good, I called it initially when it was going to happen. I said he was going to beat Randy and people thought I was absolutely out of my mind. And the day after it happened, I sat in the daily and watched the Cage Side Seats website basically burned to the ground. Popcorn.
Awkward. So awkward.
You were there that morning.
Yep, I did. Okay. I saw the whole thing burn down. I think I saw the nightly burn down as well. But like we said, we're both advocates of Jinder. But then again, when we go to all his title defenses and his title, his title defenses during his reign as WWE champion, it's average at best. I mean, going from one wrestler to another wrestler, it opened a lot of possibilities that this guy is actually a one-dimensional wrestler. He just wrestled.
The match with Brock Lesnar would have physically injured Jinder Mahal, and he would have done it without even trying.
Of course,
you know.
I'm not, and
you're not going to see. You weren't going to see the Haas fight that we could possibly see with AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar.
Of course, because
Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's what? It's like three different. It's three different. What? No, it's not three different things. It's two different styles of wrestling when you want to toss it to Brock Lesnar, basically. And expecting Jinder Mahal to wrestle his slow, methodical pace against a beast, a freak of a man like Brock Lesnar.
That match would have been like, wake me up when it's over. Because they're both, Brock is not one-dimensional, but he plods along A to B to C to D.
Yes.
You can't have two plotters like it. It won't work.
It does. It won't. It's simple. You can't put two technical wrestlers together and expect it to become, how to say, an A-class masterpiece. You'd get an A-class masterpiece in a technical wrestling standpoint, but would the crowd be entertained? Worrying.
Probably not.
Worrying. You could have, let's just toss this in the fantasy route then. You could have a technical wrestler like Bret Hart wrestle another technical wrestler in the form of, say, Ricky Steamboat.
That match would get over because of the technical prowess of both wrestlers. Yes. And the popularity of both wrestlers. Even now, even though Bret Hart is the grumpy old man.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I said it. Grumpy old man.
I just realized you said it.
And, love you, Bret, but you're a grumpy old man.
Please don't listen to this. We don't want suddenly someone knocking in the door at.
Yeah, but and Rick Steamboat, put those two together in a ring in their prime of their career, and it'll tear the house down.
Yes,
because both of them know how to brawl as well.
Yep. And the match would get over, but would you think it would be as entertaining watching headlocks and then twist it around to escape from a headlock and then coming in together doing catch wrestling and technical wrestling, submission? It won't. Sure, some of the wrestling purists would love it because it's technical wrestling at its best, performed by two technical wrestlers.
Yeah.
But you're gonna be, like we said last week, where you're gonna be entertaining a niche audience of the wrestling, the ones who take wrestling as a whole. You're only gonna.
I mean, there are those out there. There are the technical purists that are still out there, and yes, it's a niche market, but another example of a niche market type character is Bayley.
I mean, she like I've said it I said it tons of time already. She's marketed to the little girls who are fans of wrestling.
Yeah,
she's marketed there,
and that's not a bad thing.
No.
Picture of it. It's just that some people feel that she should have more than what she has,
and she realized that too. Actually,
yeah,
she knows that.
She knows what needs to be done.
It's just that,
and I think she's starting to speak up more because there's been some slight changes that I'm seeing with her attire.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing more neutral colors now. She's not really wearing the bright colors anymore,
which I think could sign to a little bit shift, because here's my take on it. A lot of people are saying that Bayley should be slotted in with slotted in the 5-on-5 women's division in the Survivor Series.
I think she is.
To me, I think she should not.
I already think she is part of the team.
She is, but
I think yeah. Well,
yeah.
everybody is saying about Asuka.
Mhm.
She can't be in it because if she gets pinned, that ends her streak.
I don't think 5-on-5 would
No,
kind of count.
No, because it's a tag match. But
Yeah.
also the thing is too that the tag matches she had when she was in NXT, she wasn't eating the pins either.
Mm-hmm.
Asuka wasn't. So there's that. So I don't know if that would count as a streak breaker or not. If she got pinned or counted out.
Because yeah, I could see that point, but
I could see a perfect opportunity for Asuka to actually, if they wanted to, they could turn her heel.
Yeah.
For being left off the 5-on-5 team.
Yep. I mean, sure. I mean, let's see. Okay, considering that we potentially would say that the lineup has been agreed upon. No, actually, it hasn't. Team Raw hasn't actually agreed on the last slot. It's still to be determined. Because here's the thing. Of course, a fan would say that Bailey, because you have, here's the option. Emma is gone. Summer Rae is gone. Both of them were released.
Yeah, that's we'll touch on in a little while.
Okay. Alicia Fox, the captain, doesn't really have a lot other options. So unless somebody comes up from, say, NXT, or the issue with Paige coming back either to Raw or to SmackDown gets resolved, it's just going to come down to Bailey and Dana Brooke. Of course, people would say that Bailey is the better choice because she's the bigger name.
But here's the thing: they could use that as a catalyst of a shift.
Exactly.
Of Bailey, because Alicia Fox didn't choose her, she costs Team Raw the match.
Exactly. Because of course, Bailey is the more bigger name and is the more wholesome wrestler in a sense, but keeping Bailey off would create a lot of potential for a little bit of a twist to her character, or probably a full-on heel turn.
Yeah, I hear what you said. I fully see it being Bailey coming in and doing the rose plant on Sasha to give the win to SmackDown.
Because here's the thing: last week, last week's Raw, both of them were trying to fight as the fourth member of the Raw Women's Survivor Series team. We know that slot is now given to Sasha Banks. Bailey looks confused after the match. She looks flustered. She looks confused, a little bit angry. Dissatisfied, angry. You can say angry because she was clutching her ribs at that time when Banks won, and I think that could lead to a shift in character. I mean, yeah, I can't say for sure. I can't say definitively for sure because we're just speculating. But then again, the signs are there. I mean, if WWE Creative goes into that path, then suddenly in Survivor Series we see the shift of change for Bailey's character, just because, well, Bailey growing angry with Banks for not really supporting her and, well, believing in her. It could create a lot. It could create a lot of other points. So I think, in a sense, Bailey could skip out from the Survivor Series on a 5-on-5, just to kind of like create a whole new other narrative to play with.
Yep. Well, I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. Bailey needs to make the change on Sasha, make the turn if they turn her.
If they turn her.
If they turn her, it needs to be against Sasha. She needs to cut Sasha off before Sasha turns on her. Leave Sasha as the face. Everybody goes, and we get it. We hear it a lot, and especially in the nightly. Sasha's a better heel than she is a face, but she's already turned 7 times back and forth. We don't want her to be the women's equivalent of the Big Show.
I was just about to say that. Can we just make the comparison that Sasha Banks is our
I was
Michelle?
getting there. I was getting there. You
I,
should have known where I was going when I said that.
I should. I did. But here's the thing, though. Uh, I don't. I don't necessarily see Bailey coming in and then just suddenly, what I say, interrupt proceedings in SmackDown in Survivor Series. She could. She could show that she's displeased at the outcome in Survivor Series, but not do a thing. Maybe the shift would happen in the aftermath of Survivor Series on Raw. It could happen. It's just that the signs show that she could have a little bit of a lot of shift in character if they want to take that to the down the path, and I think it's interesting. But all of it would have to start with Alicia Fox not picking Bailey. If that happens, then we can speculate that this is definitely something. This could lead to a shift. If Alicia Fox picked Dana Brooke, it's on.
Oh yeah.
If Alicia Fox picked Bailey, then we're just gonna we're just gonna see what's going to happen unless WWE is clouding us with smoke and mirrors before Survivor Series. If they pick Bailey, if they pick Dana Brooke, the writing is on the wall.
Yeah.
So there's that. And yeah, okay. Since considering that I just touched a little bit on both Emma and Summer Rae, yeah, both of them have been recently released.
Yeah. Future Endeavored, I think it was last Saturday, right after our podcast. We actually didn't do one live last week. It was a pre-recorded one. So we did.
Yeah. But technically, yes, it's on our podcast on a Friday. Just on the my Friday or Saturday, and just after that, we heard the news that both Emma, Summer Rae, and who was the other one? There's three people. Right?
There was three.
Darren Young.
Yes, Darren Young. Yes, yeah. Darren Young. All three of them were future endeavored by the WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Emma, I didn't see coming.
No,
the one with Emma shocked the hell out of me. Summer Rae, I felt it was coming a couple of months ago, but I kept my mouth shut.
Mm-hmm.
And Darren Young, well, he's had injury issues as of late.
Number one, and number two, I think it surprised him a lot more because he was doing a thing for WWE, he was doing an event for WWE while being as WWE, and then suddenly getting the Future Endeavored call right off the bat. I think right out from Twitter. It's the how to say. It's the.
Well, at least it wasn't by FedEx.
Or at least it wasn't by TV in the case of the former FBI director.
True.
It could happen, but at least it didn't happen like that. But yeah, it's sad because two of them probably had the writing on the wall coming on from a mile away. Emma was a surprising bit. But let's touch up on Emma because, well, Summer is already doing good work as a model, I think. Darren Young, don't know what's going on with him. Haven't really heard a lot of news or a lot of noise about it. But Emma, the famous bit is that she was trying to get booking for February 2018 for next year, and rumor has it that she's touched on Stardom, and Stardom turned her down.
Ungodly amount of money she wanted.
She wanted $2,000, I think.
$2,000 and creative control of her character,
which I think both of us agree that it's understandable, actually.
Well, after getting burned like she did with WWE with her with the characters she was given, she had what, three?
Three. We have Dark Emma.
We had Dark Emma, which was the one that was here, the last one.
Mm-hmm.
We had the doofus dancer Emma. It was. I think that's what ruined her career with WWE. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, probably. I can't say much about it. It's like I said, countless amount of times, and quite
the
a lot
Emelina
more
character,
recent.
which debuted and then disappeared.
I think that one was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think a lot of people would agree that was it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That pissed her off to no end.
Number one, that pissed her off to no end, and that actually put her in a bad standing with creative as a whole as well.
Yeah.
That one really did a number on her. Even if you give her the comedic wrestler in the form of stupid dancing Emma, she still got over. Number one,
Yeah.
even in a not as you wanted her to go over kind of way, but she still got over. Even her stint with Dark Emma, with Dark Emma as a character, she got over too. Or at that time, I think probably she got over because we are so glad to see her kind of vibe. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was the whole thing.
I mean that's the whole thing. But then again, that one Emma getting released was a surprise even for me because Breaking Emma got released. I was shocked as that one came out of the left field and out of the blue for me, and I was like, what? And suddenly hearing that she was in negotiation with Stardom, and reportedly Stardom did not want to follow through, which again, I think we both agree is kind of understandable because after being screwed 3 times with her character and how creative is controlling a character, she definitely wants more control of her character, more say-so in her character, in developing her character.
Yes.
And apparently Stardom doesn't want to see it and doesn't want to see it that way. So probably that's the deal breaker for them. I don't know but I do know that Stardom is a good company, is a good Joshi wrestling, Japanese Joshi wrestling promotion company for women. That's a mouthful.
And I think too that it would help her in the end, in the long run.
Yep.
To go and be over there and be in the dojo, learning.
Yep. Because
it would add more to her character in the long run.
Yes, because back before she was Emma, she was Tennille Taylor, Tennille Williams, and Tennille Dashwood, of course, as her. Because she rocks it in the independent circuit way before she was entering NXT or even in development in WWE eyesight. She's good.
Well, I think she was originally with FCW.
She was originally with FCW for 2 years.
That tells you how long she's been involved with WWE.
Yeah, she was involved with WWE way back in 2011, and now it's 2017. She has been in the company for about 6 years. She got signed. She got signed. I can't remember when she got signed, but she appeared on August 1st live event for FCW at that time, I think. But yeah, it's a sad thing. Hopefully she'll get better. Hopefully she has it better on the independent scene. Of course, her being ex WWE, she's gonna potentially cost more. But I think.
But then again, Jack Swagger hasn't survived in the Indies, being ex WWE. He's not, he's starting to catch on now, but I mean, it took him almost a year and a half after he left.
Almost a year and a half. I think it's just for him to just settle, or probably just to get the whole I think just the whole no compete clause. I think
it's only 90 days.
Yeah, it's only 90 days, but then again, you can't really. Probably WWE doesn't want you to do stuff right afterwards, and of course, when you get blackballed like how Jack Swagger did, I mean,
a lot of that is the internet doing that. He was unsafe wrestler, blah blah blah. I don't think so. Same thing we were hearing about Nia Jax, and I get upset about that because accidents freaking happen.
I don't want to break into a small rant, but Jack Swagger was before this. He's a former amateur wrestler. Why is he not safe?
Exactly. That's my point. That is my exact point. He is not an unsafe wrestler. He knows how to wrestle because he's got an amateur background, for Christ's sake. He was a national champion wrestler.
Yep. Yes, he was a junior national. He joined the junior national USA wrestling team as a heavyweight in 2000. So his background as an amateur wrestler is there. I might not be the expert on saying that being an amateur wrestler doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad wrestler overall, but he knows how to wrestle.
Yes, he does. No argument from me. None.
I mean, of course, shit happens. I mean, of course, shit happens when you go in wrestling sometimes, when you go you go in with your well planned out, well thought out flow of your match. This is how you want to do it. This is how you want to. Okay, you're gonna do this, and then you're gonna do this, and then suddenly shit happens. You can't really escape it. I mean, I think that marred his. I think that marred his legitimacy as a wrestler as a whole, and then got him on the mark as a wrestler who is unsafe for wrestling. I mean, what? This guy is a collegiate athlete. Where in the blue hell?
Yeah.
Where in the blue hell is he not safe?
Yeah, that's my point.
I mean, but then again, like I said, he came back on August 12th. He came back on August 12th this year. He made his Compound Pro Wrestling CPW wrestling debut in Tulsa. So he's starting back. He's starting to build back his name. Because actually, he does actually appeared on several independent circuits. Probably some you might not know. The most famous one would be House of Hardcore, actually.
And that's from Tommy's Dreamer.
Yep.
You know, people say Tommy Dreamer, all the brain damage and everything he's got, he still knows what he's doing when it comes to booking.
And it actually does. He actually still does.
He books things brilliantly. From what I've not seen any of his stuff from House of Hardcore, but I hear that it's booked brilliantly.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, okay, let's touch up on this. It's a little bit surprising because considering the fact that we are talking about Emma, I think that Australia and New Zealand are actually slowly becoming a factory of producing able-bodied wrestlers. I mean, just this year alone, we've seen talent coming out from Australia and New Zealand, for that matter. Let's say Oceania, for that matter. I think that would be that would be perfect. I mean, here's the thing. There's Rhea Ripley, who's just signed by the WWE. She's still very young, very hell.
21, 22?
She's 20, I think.
I'll take your word for it.
She's 20, I think. If my memory.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. And then there's Dakota Kai, who's from New Zealand. Toni Storm, who literally and figuratively took the wrestling world by storm as well. She's from Australia. And then we have Emma, and then there's there's that one guy you said that who's just been signed by Bullet Club.
Oh, that Australian. Hold on, I'll get that name. Hang on, I'll find it. Let me go find it.
I mean,
yeah, because great conversation in the Daily this morning. I might as well go into it. It's a gentleman that goes his handle on case I see this Pound Sterling. He says a Bullet Club got a new member, Australian guy by the name of Gino Juicy Gambino, aka Mr. Juicy. Good for him. And
okay.
Our dear friend AA, Ambrose Alley, said Bullet Club is no longer Bullet Club with all these members, which we'll touch on briefly.
Well, yeah.
I chime in and said, just like the NWO when it got too big.
Oh,
dilutes it and makes it less important to the overall scheme of things.
Which I agree on. I think I definitely agree.
Well, then Craig with 5 zeros says, if they couldn't get someone over, talking about WCW, they just stuck an NWO shirt on them.
That's actually pretty true.
And then our friend again, Ambrose Alley, says, very much so. Same thing happened with DX until it got to be just HBK and Triple H again. And then she types in, she brings up the Shield. The Shield is not the Shield without just the 3 original members, which I agree. They've been adding. They've had. Let's see. We've had Kurt Angle. We've had Triple H over in Europe, and there's been 1 or 2 other people.
There's Samoa Joe. There's Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe. That's right. That was on Monday.
Yeah.
Was he all decked out in all black too with the Ryan Fest on?
No.
Okay, and I said, I think all these quasi members, this is the last statement on this, and I think all these quasi members are going to get MDK'd. I said, all except Kurt. It would be awesome to see Trips shield bombed to oblivion. And, all the positive things we just said about Triple H, aka Paul Levesque, and now I want him to be shield bound to oblivion. Go figure.
I mean, okay, the small video clip that I watched where both Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins did a suicide dive on on their opponent, and then Triple H is joining in and said, "Oh, screw it, I can't do a suicide dive," and just goes out from the ring, climbs down from the ropes, and then chased after Bray Wyatt to give him a punch. That was funny, but yes, I can agree. Shield is not the Shield without Roman Reigns, that Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins, and
That's right.
they're doing just that. But I think it's not really permanent. It's just temporary. You're an honorary Shield member for now. And then
Yeah, but
to hell with it. Because I mean, hell, Samoa Joe was brought in to be a pseudo Shield member, but he didn't come out decked in all black riot gear and all that. He didn't. He went out with his same combat pants. So that's it.
yeah, so there's that.
But yes, let's go back. Let's touch on that small bit of Bullet Club being pseudo NWO. I mean, it's obvious already, even if you don't really see it.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Bullet Club, but I do know that you brought this to my attention in the pre-show meeting,
Mhm.
that you would almost think that there's actually two factions involved with Bullet Club now.
Yes, because you have the whole shebang of Bullet Club with Hangman Page, Yujiro Takahashi, also known as the Tokyo Pimp, and you have the God with Tama Tonga and Tangaroa, and then you have the Underboss with Bad Luck Fale. Those are all the Bullet Club members that were there. And then you have the elites of the Bullet Club, which, of course, obviously run by three people: the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, and Kenny Omega. These three are the original members of the originators, you can say. They're like the Triple H and HBK. They're like Hulk Hogan.
Well, no, the actual originals of the Bullet Club are the Good Brothers and Finn.
Yeah, true. And
They're
on
the
NXT.
originators.
Yes. And then they dragged and then they drag Kenny Omega and Young Bucks in. But then again, these three are the folks who actually rebranded themselves as the elite of the Bullet Club.
Right.
Therefore, two factions: Bullet Club as a whole and these three people.
You got the
Doesn't that
so basically you got the elites being the original, like the original NWO Black and White.
Basically, yeah, NWO Hollywood.
The NWO Hollywood, exactly. Then you got NWO Wolfpack.
Yeah.
The other half of the other group of the Bullet Club.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Coming up to this year, even in the G1 special, coming in G1 Climax and G1 Special series, the Bullet Club members are actually doing very good. But before that, things are looking stagnant, even for people like, say, Bad Luck Fale. They're just paperweights, basically. I hate to say it, but they're just there to make up the numbers. Aside from Guerrilla Destiny with Tama Tonga and Tangaroa, those two tag teams are quite literally sliced bread for Bullet Club, aside from the Young Bucks, of course. But I have, even if you don't really get the feeling that it just felt like they're a pseudo NWO clip, they actually definitely are a pseudo NWO. They already stated that they are copying the likes of, they are actually doing homages to the likes of both NWO and DX as a whole. And I can agree, Bullet Club is no longer Bullet Club with all these people coming in. Yes. I guess to me, like Taker said, to me personally, I think the three guys who did create the Bullet Club were Finn Balor, who's back then was Prince Devitt, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. Those three people are the one who created the Bullet Club, because.
And if you look at the Good Brothers attire, I know there's Japanese writing. You know, the actual what's the word for it? I can't think of it now. Ideographs.
Okay, ideographs.
Yes. Japanese ideographs on their ring attire. I do not know what it says. But I would assume those who can read it would think it had. I would assume it has something to do with the Bullet Club.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I'll try and catch it because I seriously haven't really thought of reading the whole thing. So in a sense, it's a little bit funny that I myself didn't really catch it, but I'll try and catch it. But
Yeah, I've
I think,
noticed that it's the same. Some of the same ring gear they wore over in Japan. So I don't see where they wouldn't be promoting the Bullet Club with it.
Mhm, mhm. I mean, say what you want. I mean, let's get back to Bullet Club and NWO here a little bit. Say what you want about them. I mean, I can totally agree because back then, even before their names went up, their stock went up after G1 Climax. They were stagnant. I mean, they were recruiting people. They were recruiting mid carders basically. Hangman Page, uh, like I said, Yujiro Takahashi. Uh, the only names that you could bring up that do deserve a little bit of a push, like the tag team with God and Bad Luck Fale. Those two are the ones who could push the whole thing up. But then again, you have people who are coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in. It just feels like NWO all over again.
Yeah, well, Bad Luck Fale got his push when he apparently MDK'd Daryl, but then suddenly Daryl was put back together and is alive
Yeah,
and is now married to Carol.
Carol. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Carol. Carol Takahashi. Yes.
Yes, that's a whole other story.
Let's not talk about it. It's still so funny though. But then again, I mean, what's to say about Bullet Club that hasn't been said? I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that hasn't been said that has been said. There's a lot of speculations. There's a lot of things that you could bring up about these. They're successful. They're an attractive. They're an attractive bunch in the sense that they pull attention towards them, all their antics, all their marketing, and suddenly you have recruits. You have recruits coming in, coming in, coming in. Oh my God. There's a lot of people. 1, 2, 3,
Mhm.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's not even considering
That's
four.
the secondary faction, right? Or is that the total overall group?
This is the total overall group, my friend.
And so you got 3 in one faction as the elites.
Kenny Omega, Matt Nick. That means you only have 8 people. You have 8 people.
You have 9 people. If you said it's 12, do your
Oh,
math.
okay. Okay, sorry.
I know it's after 1:00 for you. You probably have had a glass of sake or 2.
Yeah.
So your brain's a
sound
little slow.
Yep. and then you have subgroups. Like I said, you have a lot of subgroups, and I'm not just talking about the elite and Bullet Club as a whole. There's Bullet Club Latino America, and then there's Gorillas of Destiny. Then there's the Hung Bucks, the Luxury Trio, the Super Click, and then the Young Bucks, of course. Nah. There's a lot of people in there.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like what they did with NWO and WCW. You had LWO, Latino World Order, was involved, and then they got drug in and just turned into a big old cluster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know there's one person that would love to talk about this with us too.
What? Who?
Crazy Chris.
Oh, yeah, he
is the big mark for NJPW.
is.
I'm currently speaking with him on Twitter, so be patient.
I think here's the thing. I think he's an even bigger mark than my girlfriend is.
I believe so.
Oh my goodness. I mean, but I can agree. He could speak a lot about Bullet Club in a lot of different sense of the word. I mean, my goodness. But I definitely agree. There's a lot of comparisons between them, and there's a lot of comparisons between Bullet Club and the NWO. And if they're not careful, they could implode when it got too big. So, like you said, just like the NWO, when it got too big, it dilutes. It makes the members inside feel less important.
Exactly.
Except for the core of the group, probably. Maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like I said, they're recruiting mid-carders.
Let us move on from this and come back to it in a little while.
Okay.
Because
Fine.
he needs 10 minutes. He'll be here.
Who needs 10? What
Chris.
the hell?
Crazy Chris.
Crazy Chris needs 10 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, he's cooling his computer down. I guess where he's living, his Mandor's got the heat on maximum right now. So he's
Oh no. I know what I know what he did. Crazy Chris, if you're listening to this, you have been streaming your gaming experience for about, I don't know, an hour or two now. Yes, people. Crazy Chris is a gamer. Please
I know
catch his
that.
Twitch. Please catch his Twitch stream when you can. Anyways, let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's just touch up a little bit quickly on NXT then, considering the
No,
fact that you
there's
and I
one more
both.
thing I want to talk about from SmackDown because I know
Okay.
about those two.
Okay.
The intergender match
Oh,
between Becky, the Irish last kicker, Becky Lynch,
yes.
and Turtle Face Ellsworth.
With flanked by Carmella, the $1 Million
With
Princess.
Carmella, who after I guess that was a 5-minute match. Ellsworth got a little bit in and then proceeded to get his ass kicked and lose by a disarmer.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly.
Yes.
To which, afterwards, Carmella kicked him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole entire women's roster from SmackDown was down at ringside laughing their asses off the whole time.
Yep. Well, considering the fact that starting off,
from what I understand, it was also a lumberjill match.
It's a lumberjill match.
Oh shit!
It's it's an intergender. It's an intergender lumberjill match, basically.
Oh my god!
And James Ellsworth did no favors when he started off saying that we're in a city called Manchester, not Womanchester. Oh boy!
Yep, that's called stepping on the crank with the old golf shoes. Yeah, Manchester, not Womanchester.
Yes. Way to come into a match.
Way to get the heat on you from the crowd.
Agreed. Good heel move, but way to get heat on a heel crowd for one, and way to get heat on someone who can actually break your arm in the form of Becky Lynch.
Yes.
And of course, coming in. This is not really an okay. Let's touch up on the match a little bit quick. It's not an in-ring classic, but thank God it is back. Intergender matches is back again. I'm not sure it's officially back or not. It's just that it is here. Although considering the fact that
it was one of the highest rated, the ratings on it were high.
Yeah, I agree. But again, considering the fact that
segment, I think it was the second highest segment of the night. If I remember correctly.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, considering that the first was AJ Styles winning the belt. And considering also that this is actually not the first time that WWE has brought intergender matches, considering...
By the way, we have been corrected as to what kind of match this was.
Yes.
It was not intergender.
It was...
interspecies.
So James Ellsworth is not a man anymore? What is he?
He is of unknown species that looks like a man.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ambrose Alley, for that information.
So we have the...
That tells you just how much heat this man has.
Oh, goodness. Oh. I mean...
We have respected, infamous members of K-Side Speaks say he is not a man, he is a species in and of himself.
Well, you did consider him as a turtle face. So
yeah.
Turtleneck,
yep.
Basically.
Yep.
But but here's the thing. Quickly speaking, it's not a classic. Like I said, we'll come back intergender match, even though we have seen
interspecies. That's a $5 fine. We've been corrected already. And
where's my tip cup? Where's my tip cup?
I don't know. You better find it. You're the one that keeps getting fined. Have you noticed this? Since the beginning of our show, which was 20 episodes ago, I can't believe we've made it this far.
Okay.
You're the one that's been getting fined.
Okay, fine. But you're also the one that's mostly using the puke bucket.
Yeah. I use that.
Okay. Tip jar. $5 fine inside there. Interspecies match then.
Yes.
welcome back interspecies match. Although on a different breath, we've seen this kind of match happen with John Cena and Nikki Bella versus Maurice and The Miz back in WrestleMania. This is the first time we've seen it back on television.
Yes.
On television week, basically on the week of television. Of course, I think the narrative here is that Ellsworth is representing the misogynistic kind of men
Yes, he
who
is.
dismiss women as a whole, basically. And of course, he got his comeuppance by facing one of quite possibly one of the toughest women in the division in Becky Lynch, who can actually break your arm. And the pattern continued on and on and on along the week, with James Ellsworth getting his ass beat by the SmackDown Women's Division.
Yes, I mean, the last two gifts I saw last night were brilliant. Becky Lynch giving James Ellsworth the mandible claw.
Number one,
and then Naomi doing the glowworm or doing the worm.
That's number two. You forgot number three.
Which was what?
Becky Lynch giving two fingers up, which thankfully is actually her pinky finger, in reference to Tea Time promotion, and giving her a Stone Cold Stunner. Giving James Ellsworth a Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, he gave him a Stone Cold Stunner as well. Yes, that is true.
That is true. But yeah, going ahead. But yeah, it was a fun trope to follow throughout the week. And it was fun seeing the women's division on SmackDown actually letting loose and then just portraying themselves as a united front going into Survivor Series.
Yes, that's perfect.
I mean, even
Lana was having fun.
Yeah.
And she's not part of the team, and she's up there all excited.
Yep. She gave an X Factor, basically, on James Ellsworth, if you'd seen it.
I hadn't seen it.
The sequence for that one is Lana using the X Factor, Carmella delivering the Bronco Buster, Charlotte giving a choke slam in reference to Kane. Yes. And finally, Becky Lynch giving two pinkies up and delivering the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is that. I loved it. I like the segment. Sure. I love the whole segment and the way they're carrying it out throughout the week. Like that deserves an A+ for me, because they continued the trope again and again and again throughout their touring of Europe. So kudos to them for having.
If you look at him in the gifts I saw last night, his arms in a sling now. He's wearing a thing around his neck, and they're still beating the holy hell out of him.
Yeah.
And that worm was a reference to Too Cool.
Yes, of course. Naomi and Brian Christopher James, BG James, basically.
Yep.
So, but yeah, like I said, I liked I liked the segment. I liked that they continued the segment throughout the whole week, where going to tours they whipped them again, going to tours they whipped them again. It's basically the Raw's version of the Shield recruiting someone random into their members, just so that you're an honorary Shield member for this week. And SmackDown following it up with the beatdown of James Ellsworth, or it's beat up James Ellsworth Day.
Beat up. That's even better than Rusev Day.
Hey, I still want my Rusev Day. Damn it! I still do. I still want them, even though John Cena kind of, sort of, could have, should have ruined it.
Oh my God, Ambrose is really cutting on him now in the chat room. The interspecies match that had turtle without a shell, manatee crossed with an alien. I would agree.
Oh goodness!
And she also said it was. I think she credits JBL for being the first one to.
Turtle without a shell, manatee crossed with an alien. Okay.
I think it was JBL who said that first. So she's giving credit where credit is due. She says, "Thank you, JBL." He was the one that just basically buried the Ascension too.
Basically, yeah.
But... And gave them a clothesline from hell.
Oh, yeah, true. But hey, if it is what it is, at least it gives you a lot more reason to boo James Ellsworth and support our women's division on SmackDown.
Yep. Yep. Great thing they're doing overseas. Now the trick is
Mhm.
let us have that match here in the States. Let them tour on, go on a tour here in the States and give them the interspecies match and see how it goes over.
That kind of sort of interspecies match against James Ellsworth,
Yeah.
because of course we're gonna go intergender without James Ellsworth and interspecies with James Ellsworth, just to make things clear for future references.
It's just too bad that James Ellsworth's not on Raw. I'd like to see an interspecies match between him and Asuka.
Please don't.
Asuka gonna kill you. Asuka gonna kill you.
You do know that they already had that chant with Becky, with going, Becky's gonna kill you as well.
Yeah, I heard. That was on Tuesday night. Becky's gonna kill you.
Of course. Which, of course, okay. She did. She earned that. She earned that 100%.
So
perfect.
There's that. I mean,
okay. Considering that you actually had watched SmackDown, anything else that you liked?
No,
about
I hadn't watched SmackDown, but I had heard about
okay.
it. I had heard about it, read about it, and I was like, the two big ones that stuck out to me were Jinder losing the title, which was I think is going to save SmackDown to a point,
Mm-hmm.
and then this thing with Becky and James
Ellsworth. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think that covers on all the good stuff that happened on SmackDown. I mean, most of the bad stuff came out from segments most of the time, as well as just a average match between Rusev and Randy Orton, with Randy Orton denying the folks another chance at getting their Rusev Day, me included. Please.
Oh, do you hear those violins in the background?
Yes.
They're playing their heart. They're playing now. Their heart bleeds for purple peanut butter for you.
Wait, why purple peanut butter?
Because that's what it is.
Oh, goodness. I mean, but to me, I think personally, if I want to touch it quickly, Rusev has quietly become one of the funniest people in WWE.
Ooh. PW Insider is reporting something right now.
What?
Our good friend Conan from the Nightly, former WWE Divas Champion Paige will finally return to WWE programming this week. PWInsider.com has confirmed. Although there had been early plans for her to return on the SmackDown brand, PW Insider has learned that WWE will instead have her return to the Raw roster, where she had been originally drafted during the 2016 brand split, but never actually appeared post-draft.
Interesting.
Belief among several we have spoken with is that Paige will somehow end up on the Raw Women's team at the 11/19 Survivor Series in Houston, where she now resides. So Bayley versus Mickie James versus Dana Brooke has been announced to fill the position of the fifth competitor of Team Raw this Monday for Atlanta. It's possible Paige is added to make it a four-way, or WWE runs some other sort of angle to have Paige replace one of the members of the team. Paige has not competed for WWE since the summer of 2016, when she was suspended for the first of two infractions under the WWE wellness policy. Since that time, she has undergone neck surgery. In recent weeks, she's been working out at the Performance Center in preparation for her return to WWE storylines. There's also another rumor out there about Paige, that she is now single.
I've heard both. Yeah. I heard both of them. But that one is quite recent, so I'm going to touch on the Paige returning maybe sooner than you think. That actually brings up a wonderful precedence to the idea that Bayley would be shifted aside to make space for either Dana Brooke or potentially Paige. I mean, it could work. I mean, considering the fact that now we don't really get Alicia Fox saying, "Okay, I'm gonna pick Dana Brooke as the 5th member." Now that they're gonna toss potentially next week, they're gonna toss in both Bailey versus Mickey James versus Dana Brooke to fill out the 5th competitor, probably inserting Paige to make it a 4-way. Number one, with what you're saying, or number two, creating a storyline into which Paige is inserted into the whole thing.
Right. And joining us now from Two Guys, One Sport is Crazy Chris. Good morning, sir. Thank you for coming.
Madness, I say. It's madness.
Did you hear that latest rumor? I read that off from the Daily.
Yeah. I mean, I had heard about the whole Paige declaring herself a single thing. And did you guys know about also Alberto Del Rio no-showing an AMA he was supposed to do with Combate Americas last night after the announcement of Paige becoming single was made.
I guess he was at a bar getting drunk and crying in his beer.
Either that or reenacting.
I'm waiting for the Periscope to come out with him blaming Big Nose.
It's either that or he was reenacting the final scene from Scarface with the giant piles of cocaine around him.
Oh my God.
That seems to be his entertainment of choice most of the time.
Yeah, welcome to our 20th episode, by the way, Chris. It's nice to have you.
It's good to be here, guys. I'm sorry I haven't ever been on before, but better late than never, I guess.
We haven't been able to get it together because you're at work during the day when we were doing it on Fridays. We moved it to Saturday because we wanted to get the viewership up, the listeners up.
Yeah.
And this seems to be working for us. It was my idea.
It's all his idea.
Saturday morning seems to be best.
Smart man, Sir TakersMinion. You're a smart man.
I try.
And I do know, Chris, that you are very busy with your live stream on Twitch as well.
I was actually streaming this morning, and then I realized, oh my goodness, my computer tower feels like it's burning because my landlord decided he was going to turn the heat up to the maximum possible level in our building as soon as the temperature went below 50. So yeah,
open some windows and put a fan in it blowing right on your computer, or get yourself an Alienware.
Yeah, no, I have. I was going to open up one of the windows in my bedroom, and I took my headphones off. I have the noise canceling headphones, and I was like, "What is that noise?" And I looked down and see, oh, all of my computer fans are going at the fastest possible RPM that they can manage because the computer tower is overheated so much.
Oh fuck! I hate it when that happens.
The main reason we called you in there is that this morning we had a small conversation in the Daily.
Yep.
And I will bring that back up. I gotta go find it again. About what we were talking about the Bullet Club.
Certainly.
Okay.
Basically, the long story short. Go ahead, Taker.
The Bullet Club is okay at 8:47 my time, Central Time, 9:47 yours. Says Pound Sterling says Bullet Club got a new member, Australian guy by the name of Gino Juicy Gambino, aka Mr. Juicy.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, they just got him.
What?
They just got him, and there's a link. It's a link.
Okay. First of all, I need to find this Juicy Gambino. You say his name is?
Yeah, aka Mr. Juicy. Okay. Ambrose Alley, the lovely Ambrose Alley that we all love dearly.
Yeah.
Says Bullet Club is no longer Bullet Club with all these members.
I mean, yeah, sure. NJPW has appeared in Melbourne. I think it was MCW.
Yeah, they were just at MCW yesterday, or rather.
And I chime in and say, yeah, just like the NWO when it got too big, it dilutes it and makes it less important to the overall scheme of things.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then Craig with 50 says, yeah, if they couldn't get someone over, meaning WCW, they just stuck an NWO shirt on them, which was true.
Well,
Ambrose Alley says very much so. Same thing happened with DX until it was just HBK and Triple H again. And then she brings the Shield, and she says the Shield is not the Shield without just the 3 original members. I agree. These are these, and I finally chime in and say again, I think all those quasi members are going to get MDK'd, all except Kurt. it would be awesome to see Trips shield bombed into to oblivion.
Yeah, I would be okay with that.
But
Same thing with Samoa Joe.
Yep,
sure.
yep.
Fine with that.
Kurt, leave Kurt alone. Kurt can't take a shield bomb.
Can't take a shoe bomb.
No, not at all. I'm on this guy Mr. Juicy's Twitter watching I'm watching the video. I have the sound off, but I'm watching the video here of Bad Luck Fale giving him the shirt, and it's just like,
Yeah.
Are they kidding? Are you kidding me, guys? Hang on. I need to let me pull up a spreadsheet here. I need to get a number here. I need to give a count, because I'm gonna see if I have the numbers here right. Blank spreadsheet.
Okay.
So we've got Kenny Omega. We've got Bucks.
Bucks, yes.
We've got
Bucks and Kenny Omega. Bucks and Kenny Omega, I guess, are the elites of Bullet Club.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've
Okay.
got
And then the rest is another faction.
Hangman Page.
Yep.
Marty Skrull.
Yep.
The Gorillas of Destiny. Ironically enough, I'm wearing my Gorillas of Destiny T-shirt as we speak.
Oh, awesome.
So perfect timing on this.
Perfect.
We've got
It is
Bad
perfect.
Luck Fale.
Of course.
Yujiro Takahashi.
Yep.
Chase Owens.
Mhm.
Cody.
Cody.
Leo Tonga.
Leo Tonga. Yep.
This guy Juicy. Am I missing anybody?
I don't think so. I think
currently
you're.
active in the Bullet Club. I think that's it.
Yeah,
so
that's it.
that's 13 guys.
13.
That would officially make them the largest stable in New Japan. And
Largest
I say specifically for New Japan because it's confirmed that Geto has full control over who gets added to Bullet Club or not. So he has final say, which means that he said okay to adding this guy Juicy, who I'm guessing a bunch of people have probably never even heard of.
But here's the thing, though. They added Mr. Juicy as a part-timer, considering the fact. But
Even
yeah,
still,
technically. Yeah, but even still, they have 13 people inside that stable itself.
Yeah, this is too much. And my wonderful co-host and I on my show, George, he's been saying for a couple of weeks now, and I'm definitely starting to agree with him that they need to have a shakeup of the stables, and New Japan is definitely, Bullet Club is definitely the place to start, because this is just ridiculous.
I agree. I fucking agree, because, like I said, don't you notice before G1 Climax and even before G1 Series started, when you talk about the Bullet Club, you only talk about Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and to a point, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
The rest of them were just making up the numbers.
Well, the thing about it that I am kind of disappointed by is that in the course of 2016 in New Japan, and really just only the second half of 2016 in New Japan, you had 3 different instances of people in the Bullet Club, having some infighting with Kenny Omega. First it was Cody, then it was Tama Tonga, and most recently it's been Marty Skrull. So I was with the thing with Tama Tonga during the G1, I was really expecting that to end up with it being that there would be a match at Wrestle Kingdom 12 between Kenny Omega and somebody else for control of the Bullet Club, and then throw the IWGP United States Championship into the mix as well.
Quickly speaking, that would have been a wonderful idea, though.
Yeah, I was honestly hoping
that would have been so Memphis Wrestling too.
Yeah, I was hoping.
We know Geto is a big fan of Memphis Wrestling.
Like,
there's that too.
Yeah, I mean, with Geto and his history with Jerry Lawler, I mean, he and Lawler still talk all the time. So yeah, they actually learned that from you, Taker. So
what?
They learned that from you.
Yep.
Learn what from me? Hold on, I'm not that damn old.
Well, you mentioned it on one of the previous episodes I recall listening to. I think it was the episode right after Bobby Heenan had passed away. You had mentioned that Geto and Jerry Lawler were still connected with each other.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's obviously something that Geto
and I can blame that I gave to MDS, because MDS brought it up.
Yeah.
A couple of episodes prior that Geto was a big fan of Jerry Lawler and still talks to Jerry Lawler about how to book.
Yeah. Nice. I was hoping that we would get a match for control of the Bullet Club, and that we would see the Elite separate off into their own faction, because that would be a good way to kind of freshen things up. Because I mean, at this point, the Bullet Club, I mean, we started the Bullet Club off with 4 guys. Started off with Prince Devitt, Carl Anderson, Tamatanga, and Bad Luck Fale, and that was it.
Yep.
And now the only 2 originals who are left are Fale and Tamatanga, and they both are basically in backseat roles to Kenny, the Bucks, and Cody, and Marty, and Marty too. I would have been all in favor of like some sort of like an 8-man tag or something, where it's like Kenny, the Bucks, and either Marty or Cody versus Tamatanga, Tangaroa, Bad Luck Fale, and I don't know, Chase. I really don't care for Yujiro Takahashi, so he can just go away for all I care.
I mean, that's just a sad point for the Tokyo Pimp, considering that he is actually the mid-carder for all mid-carders there.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Yeah. Well, he's not very good. That's the thing, though. Like, if he was better in the ring, and if he had more to a character other than bring hot girls and skinny bikinis to the ring, I would be on board with him having a more integral role. But he doesn't do anything that's worth noting. So it's like, okay, you can just be the guy who constantly gets pinned, and that's that.
I think probably that's the best role for him, anyway. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess every stable does need a fall guy, but even still, just something to get this, like, even if it had been a 6-man, Kenny and the Bucks versus Fale and the Gorillas, that would have been fine too.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Yeah,
but that's unfortunately that's not going to happen at Wrestle Kingdom, because we're going to have Jericho versus Kenny Omega.
Yeah, and we're going to have
the U.S. title,
and the Bucks are going to be facing Roppongi 3K for the junior heavyweight tag team titles, and I'm willing to bet that the Gorillas will probably be the ones challenging Killer Elite Squad. I'm calling my shot now that the Gorillas are going to be winning World Tag League and are going to be challenging Killer Elite Squad at the Dome.
I think you're probably correct on that one, because I think that is the logical way to go, considering the fact that the Killer Elite Club is just a name that's just getting up in the NJPW tag team division. So
what's that?
I mean, the Killer Elite Squad. That's Lance
I need to get that damn streaming service for NJPW just so I can follow along. From what I'm gathering, it's sounding like it's a lot of old school booking, which is something I'd like.
Well,
one of the members you should know. One of the members you should know.
You would know them is Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Lance Archer,
or basically formerly known as Lance Hoyt.
Formerly known as Lance Hoyt, yeah. And there's another stable also. While we're on the subject of stables that are bloated, Suzuki Gun is also exceptionally bloated. Here, let me. I think there's 9 guys in Suzuki Gun right now. Let me list it off right now. Minoru Suzuki, Taichi, Taka Michinoku, El Desperado, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, both guys in KES, Takeshi Iizuka, Zack Sabre Jr. That's 9.
That's it. There's 9. There's 9.
Okay, so there's 9 guys.
So how many are in LIJ? That's the question.
LIJ is just the 5 guys. It's Naito, Hiromu,
that's even big.
Evil Sonata.
Yeah.
That's honestly that's the perfect thing for a stable. Those 5 guys are the best stable going in New Japan right now, because it's just the 5 of them, and all of them are excellent at what they do.
Yeah.
And from what I gather, they're face.
I mean, they're technically heels, but they get universally cheered. Everybody loves LIJ. There are more LIJ,
especially over Daryl. Okay.
Yeah.
Daryl's not got LIJ over quite as big as AR.
Yeah, I think you could sum LIJ as kind of like the tweener group, even though they do a lot of heel stuff. They get cheered all together, so they could be considered that, because they don't really follow the law, because it's in their names themselves. The Ingovernables. So
the Ungovernables. That's true.
Governables, basically. But
something like how okay, question for both of you.
Yeah.
How over would something like that be here with WWE?
Well, I mean, if you really want to look at what Andrade Cien Almas is doing in NXT. He's basically living out the Ingobernable gimmick, which he helped to pilot in CMLL. Originally, they were one of the original starters of the actual Los Ingobernables stable. So when he was still La Sombra. So
Right.
I mean, the gimmick works when it's executed properly, and he's doing it fantastically well right now. So
and with Selena Vega in his corner, that even helps more.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to see those two start recruiting members.
I would
having
be
something
perfectly
like
fine
that.
with that. I would be perfectly fine with that.
Because it's back to the argument it's back to the argument of the right character, the right time, and the right kind of push. So in a sense, if you want to answer whether that works for WWE, I agree with Chris. Cien Almas is doing perfectly well back in NXT, even though he had to take a little bit of time to get going. And especially when Zelina Vega is slotted into the mix, he got to pull off the whole Tranquilo stuff a lot more rather than back then.
That being said, though, I think that it only works in NXT because the booking is much better for him in NXT. I think that if it was on the main roster, I don't think it would work nearly as well because everything in the main roster gets 50-50 booked into oblivion. So I don't think that it would work nearly as well, because if there's one thing that New Japan does well is that even though they manage to maintain a fairly stable landscape in terms of which factions are doing well and which factions are not. In terms of giving everybody their chance in the spotlight in different areas, they don't ever make it so that a single faction looks so bad that it's not to be taken seriously. Like right now, if you look at the landscape right now, LIJ is at the top of the heap, and both Chaos and Suzuki Gun are closer to the bottom, but none of them are looking outright bad. All of the stables have their spots where they have done well and are succeeding, even though there's definitely a dynamic of who's got more power in the overall landscape over others. In WWE it wouldn't be that way. It would be everybody would be on an even playing field, but it would be such that nobody would look good.
Well, I beg to differ with you, because when the Shield was first put back together, they were starting to go on a tear. You see Braun Strowman Shield bombed in the announce table, and then I don't know if it's true or not, but at the last pay-per-view, even though Roman wasn't there, Kurt was there. The German announce table for the first time, I believe, was destroyed.
Right. Well, that's the other thing, though, is that it's either everything is 50-50 booked so that nobody looks good, or else one group is booked so incredibly strong that they're the only, they're the only ones that are considered to be viable or important. And that was what happened during the first face run for the Shield, when first they took down almost all the Authority, and then they took on Evolution and all of Evolution's cronies and beat everybody up. And the only thing that eventually took them down was a betrayal from inside. If not for that, the Shield would have basically been booked as unstoppable for a very long time. And I don't think it would have been necessarily a bad thing, but there's always the possibility of there being too much of a good thing. And in that case, it definitely had the potential where it could have gotten stale over time. Yeah.
Point taken. Yeah. But then again, here's the bad thing about back to the stables. Here's the bad thing about the stables, though. We get cases where members the stables are getting more and more bloated.
Yes,
right now.
That's the case we're having in New Japan. Like, I just started doing the numbers here. Suzuki Gun is 9, Chaos is 8, Taguchi Japan has 9, and I might even be missing some names from Taguchi Japan, even as it is, and also from Chaos.
LIJ is the only stable that has just 5 members and not more than 5 members. And I think that's a perfect number actually to keep for stable.
Exactly.
4 or 5 members is enough.
Yeah. You don't need to have.
If you look at the 4 horsemen, originally it was 4, but you had JJ as a mouthpiece, so that's 5.
Which is again perfect.
Yeah.
It's nice and you have one person who's not actually wrestling. It's just that he's doing a more managerial role
Yeah.
in that sense.
Well, JJ got involved on the outside, but there is that.
Yeah.
There is that kind of element, but then again, that's what you expect from a heel manager to do. So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
as expected as well. And then when you have and when the Four Horsemen has their members switch, they still keep to the same number 4, because that's even though that's their theme, that just suits them pretty well.
Yeah, they
4
would kick
people,
one out or one would leave and they would replace them.
yeah. And I don't know whether they could return back to that kind of roots, but I'm still just glad for NJPW to still keep LIJ as a 5-man rather than adding people.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that you'd see the same landscape that happened in WCW happen again with NJPW, where someone is a member of one stable or is not, which luckily enough did not happen, because there's even though they're in a stable, these guys are good enough to be pushed up as singles wrestlers. It's just that the current landscape and the current narrative of it would be, oh, this guy should be in this stable for NJPW, and that's a little bit of a bad thing. I mean, even your champion is part of a stable in NJPW.
All the champions are part of stables right now, and the only guys who are like really unaligned are the people we affectionately call the New Japan dads, like Ken Cozy, Jushin Thunder Liger, Tiger Mask, Yuji Nagata, Togi Makabe. They're the only guys who aren't really affiliated with a stable.
Basically, your veterans, your super veterans, for that matter.
The guys who are going to be over no matter what.
Yes.
In that regard, because they just have that kind of veteran veteran presence with the crowd, that the crowd's going to love them because of their history, and even regardless of what their current performance is, which is a good thing for a guy like Togi Makabe, who is really just kind of a one-trick pony in the ring right now.
Agreed.
But he still gets pops from people because he's still doing what he's done so well for all these years, and people remember that. They like the nostalgia. So
yeah, he's basically the nostalgia act.
Also, the interesting thing with I mentioned the Jericho Omega match. You're mentioning Jushin Thunder Liger, who did a match for WWE at Takeover 1 in Brooklyn.
Yeah. Brooklyn.
Is just the payback from WWE them having Jericho for the Dome show?
I don't think so. I mean, because the word going around was that Jericho's WWE contract had expired, and he was technically not under contract with them when he went to sign up for the match. That said, he did inform Vince ahead of time. According to what the rumors have said, he did say to Vince, I'm going to go do this match, but I'm not signing a contract or joining New Japan full time. So I don't think that it was necessarily the case where he had to get permission, or that this was, returning the favor for what they did at Takeover Brooklyn 1.
Well, you gotta give Jericho credit for even having, giving the courtesy and heads up to Vince.
Yeah,
he didn't have to do that.
Yeah, well, Jericho's also been a company man for pretty much since he joined WWE. He's always had loyalty because he knows he can always go back there. So.
Because I think he has not stepped a foot wrong in the company, so he's very much still in WWE's good graces. So he still wants to kind of like give respect to where he had worked, where he had did his whole body of work. So that's why he's asking Vince whether he could do this or not.
Yeah,
that's how I feel, anyways. But for that,
hey, that makes sense to me. Like I said, props to Jericho, for giving Vince the heads up that, hey, I'm going to do this. I don't want to leave.
I mean, I agree. But then again, it still comes down to the whole thing with the comparisons with Bullet Club and NWO. Chris, do you think that it could happen? It has a possibility that it could happen? The implosion, that is?
I mean, they've run that story so many times this year that I don't think it's I don't think it's possible that they don't eventually go to that well. And I think that they need to.
I agree. I mean, yeah, I mean,
you need to have some sort of change in the dynamics, and it's been now coming up on 2 years, almost 2 years since we've had a major shift in the dynamics of the Bullet Club, because it was 2 years ago this coming January that at New Year's Dash, AJ Styles was kicked out of the Bullet Club and Kenny Omega declared himself moving up to heavyweights and taking control of the faction. And since then, there's been no shift in the leadership. There's only just been the continuous adding on of new members. The only big change being that Adam Cole got kicked out when he left and headed over to NXT. And also, for some reason, they did the whole thing with Captain New Japan turning into Bone Soldier, and then Bone Soldier disappeared into the ether, and good riddance to him because he really wasn't doing anything anyway. And also, Cody Hall was in there for a hot minute, and then he also disappeared. I don't know what happened to Cody Hall. I think he may have had an injury or something that had kind of removed him from being in competition regularly. But
I mean, he was removed from January, I believe, this year's Janury.
Yeah,
he was injured. He was injured.
He was in the dojo, and he was, when he first got declared for Bullet Club, he was, said to be Bullet Club's young lion, and then he was just gone. So, and now they've got Leo Tonga as Bullet Club's young lion now. Although now that everybody's back from all their injuries and things, he's back to being in the dojo and not really in the spotlight.
Oh no. I mean,
okay, let's get back to, we were talking about Paige before you came in.
Yeah.
And, you said it best. Maybe he was doing his impersonation of
Tony Montana.
Yeah, Tony Montana. Not Montana, Montana. Tony Montana.
Right.
Sitting here with a pile of coat with Yayo in front of him, just snorting away.
Yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't. Goodness.
Because his heart got broke by Paige.
You know what? So much the better.
In a sense, I think that's a good. I think it's a good thing if she is away from him.
Yeah,
because he's just dead weight in trouble. For her.
And even if there hadn't been, like even aside from all of his past reputation, the amount of dumb stuff that has happened just within this year. Since Paige went out with injury and then got linked to Del Rio and then had it popped twice for the wellness policy and all of the dumb stuff that's happened since then. Del Rio has done so much to ensure that I will never respect him or appreciate him or want to support anything that he does. And he only continued his downward slide in my view with that horrific promo that he cut at Bound for Glory this past week. Just I said this last night on our show. TNA, got to give him props. They came sliding into home right at the 11th hour with a new top contender for the worst promotional gimmick of the year, with Alberto Del Rio trying to politicize his them taking the title off him for a possible domestic violence charge. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. TNA is always going to TNA.
I mean, they're
I don't know if you've heard this before, Chris, but on this show we talk about certain things that'll survive the nuclear holocaust, and they are TNA, Impact, GFW, whatever the hell they're called this week.
Yep.
AAA in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Twinkies and cockroaches.
Yep.
Yeah, Twinkies and cockroaches.
And spam. And spam.
And spam.
And spam. We'll have to add that one.
Okay.
Yes, we'll add that one.
Yeah.
We say it all the time.
Yeah. I don't know how they're surviving this. I mean,
they're just
I can't see how they're surviving it either with the amount of money that they're hemorrhaging right now.
They have to pay people to come and sit in the audience.
Yes, I saw that.
Canada.
Oh my God.
In Canada too.
They're hiring actors to sit down. Probably $150, $150, an easy $150 to do. Just sit down and watch.
I'll tell you what. Where do I sign up? I'll take the money to go sit through a shit show. Sure.
I'll take a flight from Kyoto, Japan, just to go to Canada and just go get 150, just to add to misery.
Seriously, like the thing that astounds me too, is how so many of the talents who are part of Impact continue to defend them and declare their loyalty. Like you only need to go and look at Rosemary's Twitter to see how many people go at her on a daily basis and say, "Can't wait for you to sign with WWE. Can't wait for you to be in NXT. You should be in NXT. You should be here, there, everywhere else." And she's constantly having to go out and say to these people, always in character. Props to her for always staying in character. But we've made our decision. We were made at Impact Wrestling, no matter what you say. But I gotta wonder why she's doing that. I mean, because she's got to know. She could name her price, and she would be in NXT in a heartbeat.
Let me put it this way: Vince would probably drop to his knees and service her to get her there.
Maybe not Vince, because I mean we know how Vince feels about women, but Triple H, without a doubt, he's gotta have like. He's got to be watching her Twitter feed. Like he's got to have the notifications up for any time she tweets to see when it's declared that she's decided to cut her losses and leave from Impact. Yes. I don't doubt it because
I don't either. I don't either. I mean,
she's just too good. She's too good, and especially when you have people who could be natural foils for her in NXT already in Nikki Cross and Ember Moon, just waiting for her. Like those matches are matches that we've seen, in the Indies and on Shimmer already. We know that we know that they'll be excellent matches.
Yep.
So
when they have the freedom.
Imagine this, guys. Rosemary versus Asuka.
Oh man!
On the main roster.
That's printing money right there.
Yeah, seriously. If they had her as the character still. I would be all about that.
I would be ecstatic. If they managed to keep the character.
Yeah.
If Rosemary manages.
What I think is going to happen, and you said it best, Chris, is that TNA is going to TNA. The same thing WCW did. WCW, and wound up getting bought for pennies on the dollar. Anthem is going to get to the point where they're hemorrhaging so much money. Vince is going to come in with a low ball figure, and they're going to go, "Yes, please," and sell everything.
I would not put
all Vince is going to want. All Vince is going to want is the video archives anyway.
Yeah,
he ain't going to want their six-sided ring or five-sided ring, whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
You don't want that gimmick. You may take a few of the talent.
Yeah,
but what he's after is the video library.
Yeah, and and again, matches that we've seen before, seen previews of on the Indies. I'm just looking this up now. Kana versus Courtney Rush from Shimmer Volume 70. So we've seen what a taste of what a Rosemary versus Asuka match would look like already on the Indies, and I guarantee you that was an excellent match. I don't own Shimmer Volume 70, but I would buy it in a heartbeat to see that. Man, it's the possibilities are endless. Same thing with people like Sienna or Allie.
I agree.
Both of whom are excellent indie talents. And then on the men's side, you've got freaking Lashley, who has been they completely screwed him over this year, but last year Lashley was the biggest deal in the whole company. He was doing the best work of his entire career.
Talent too.
Yeah,
Lashley's former WWE talent too.
So, I mean, there's still a lot of uptake for TNA, GFW, whatever you want to call it this week, as a whole. If you want to buy it, if you want to take it, I mean, like you said, Rosemary alone is worth the price of effort just to pull her in. And to those, I think personally, in my personal opinion, to those of the wrestlers who say that, coming to WWE was never really the dream, it's just to wrestle, I think WWE is the top peak, even though if you come a little bit, just for a moment, and then go out again back to the indies, you'd still feel like the wrestler would still feel that they had accomplished something by reaching WWE. So
yeah, I'm sure that's what a lot of the girls who were in the Mae Young Classic and then went back to the indies are feeling like, Jazzy Gabbert and Kaylee Ray, Tessa Blanchard. They're probably thinking, all right, cool. I competed in a WWE ring, and I made that. You got that on my resume. I've got that as something I accomplished in my life. And meanwhile, now I can go back to the indies and continue to be a star on the indie circuit. Even more so now for somebody like Jesse Gabbert, who got insanely over.
Yeah,
I think. But with Jesse Gabbert canceling her show in October, I think she was signed by WWE.
Interesting.
And I don't know about you, but we talked about the Mae Young Classic here, and I watched that match with Tessa Blanchard versus Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
And during that match, you actually saw the light turn on in Tessa's head. At least I thought it turned on. She was listening to the crowd instead of just going out and doing her stuff. She was listening to the crowd as to what was working, what wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Full Sail gave her a class on how to listen to a crowd.
Yeah,
and I think she's going to take that forward in her career. Now, the big question is, what is going on with Ricochet? We know his contract with Lucha Underground ended.
Yes.
This year. So
yes.
He's
a
free.
90-day non-compete from the day of the end of season 3. So his 90-day non-compete, I believe, is up. If I counted it right, it's up on January 16th, the Tuesday. It's coincidentally the Tuesday right before Takeover Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And Ricochet has also already declared that he's not taking bookings after January, which means his match where he and Ryusuke Taguchi lost the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships to Roppongi 3K. That was his last match in New Japan. I don't think he's taking any bookings with them anymore. Whenever he already lose the PWG World Championship? I know he won it from Chuck Taylor at a recent show, but I don't know if he already has lost them or not.
Let's see. What was?
But my question is this.
Oh no, he lost it.
There's
Lose it? Okay.
He didn't lose it. He didn't lose it.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, okay.
He's still PWG World Champion. So right now.
He just finished his last tour in Dragon Gate too. The tour he just did. He just said that was his final time working in Dragon Gate.
So basically, would you see that this is actually a sign that he's still under consideration to join WWE in this matter?
Oh, I'm certain he's already signed, and that he's going to be having the spot.
Well, what's this rumor? What's this rumor out there about a lowball contract being offered to him?
Yeah, that's something that I know him and Tessa are a thing, so they would be a package deal. No, I don't think that they would be a package deal. Not necessarily.
Me neither. No, me neither.
And in all honesty, somebody who's an independent wrestler making themselves a package deal along with their significant other is a really dumb way to do business. So I would not be surprised if Ricochet was not going to say it to Tessa, no, I'm not going to be a package deal with you for WWE. You have to earn your way in on your own. And that, honestly, that has to be the way that you go about it, because if she would just get over the fact that her dad's a Hall of Famer in WWE and go out and do her job in the ring, I think she'd get that. Yeah. She shows, like I said, she showed that she can listen to a crowd and get the crowd to react and do the right things. Yeah. And she's definitely had some good matches. I mean, she's still not like a top tier talent on the women's side, but she's definitely had some great matches. What, 21 years old? Yeah, she's pretty young. Yeah.
She's pretty young on the upside still.
Yeah.
She's got a big upside if she gets her head out of her ass.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she is 22.
She's 22. Fuck.
Yeah. So
with a college education, so there's that too.
But these are the reasons that there are plenty of reasons why WWE has signed Nixon Newell at 22 and has taken a pass on Tessa Blanchard at 22 every time she's coming for consideration. And
wait, Nixon Newell is signed already?
Yeah, she's been down in Florida recovering from her ACL surgery, and she's going to be debuting soon, I'm sure.
Oh, fuck.
That's the only reason why she wasn't in the Mae Young Classic, was because in her medical eval, they found that she had an ACL tear that needed. Yeah, I remember hearing about that. And WWE foot the bill. Yeah, exactly, because she's under contract, so they She's down in Florida. Like if you follow her social media, she's always hanging out with Dakota Kai and Ruby Riott. And they're always all around Florida together. When she is fully recovered, she is going to be coming back, and she's going to make her NXT debut, and she's going to be immediately a top contender. But yeah, there's a reason why WWE has gone out and signed Nixon Newell at 22 or Rhea Ripley at age 20. People who are superb talents, but then we'll take a girl like Tessa Blanchard, who is also not necessarily superb, but definitely a upper above average talent, and we'll say, nope, we don't need you, because she can't get it together with her attitude. And I think that's probably a reason why you can say for certain that Ricochet would not say that they're a package deal, because the two of them have been in a relationship long enough that Ricochet's got to be aware of the fact that Tessa's been passed on a few times, and there's got to be reasons why. And Ricochet has to be looking out for his career, regardless of his personal relationship. He has to be looking out for his career, and he has made it abundantly clear that WWE has been and will always be his end goal. And he's not looking for anything else. That's been his not so subtle public declaration for the better part of a year now. Ever since Lucha Underground season 3 started, he's been saying, "All right, we need the season to end so that I can get signed," and because of that non-compete. And I speculated for a long time that there may have been some pettiness on the part of Lucha Underground, that they put that long break in the middle of season 3 specifically to spite Ricochet for the fact that he was not coming back and was so publicly out there against them and against what they were.
Like I said, like what was said by Conrad, that's a setup that is not making money. Yeah,
and yet somehow they're coming back for a season 4.
Yeah, somehow. I was just going to touch that with the.
That's the statement, but how much truth is it?
Well, they're confident enough in it that they put out a video yesterday on Twitter of Johnny Mundo
and actually promoted
season 4 and promoting
Johnny Mundo for that matter as well. So
yeah, so
basically that also means that Johnny Impact will not be in TNA for much longer.
Which means you have to drop the title. He's got the title, so he's going to drop it to somebody, right?
Maybe not though. I mean, the thing is that Impact has been, in the course of the past year, because of all of their issues, has been trying to develop a working relationship with AAA. And since Lucha Underground is so closely affiliated with AAA, it's entirely possible that they could structure some deals such that talent could appear in both promotions and make an exception for that. They probably did the non-compete as they did with Ricochet because they knew that so many other promotions were going to be after him, we're going to try and make him an exclusive. So they probably did that with him to make sure that they could maximize the amount of time they got out of him.
That means we'll get one more year of Pentagon Dark then.
I was just about to go say that.
God damn it. That's another guy that the WWE needs to have.
And that's another guy that Taker would definitely pull out the puke bucket to drool out of if WWE signed.
The drool bucket, not the puke bucket, the drool bucket.
The drool bucket now.
Yeah.
Because there are so many matches that could go on in WWE on both rosters.
Yeah.
With Pentagon.
But I'm less inclined than I would have been previously to say that WWE should be the be all end all goal for wrestlers, simply because of how much we've seen wrestlers getting wasted on the WWE roster and not being utilized properly. And until that trend stops, I am going to be hard pressed to say that some of these guys should, quote unquote, should leave the indies for WWE, because Vince has gone out of his way to cut as much stuff out of the budget as he can so that he doesn't have to release talent. Like the releases of Darren Young, Summer Rae, and Emma were the first releases that we've had in over a year. The first major releases that we've had in over a year that weren't asked for by the talent. And Cody Rhodes leaving and Austin Aries leaving were both at their own request.
Yes.
So
same with Neville, I think.
well, Neville, there hasn't been a release there yet. I think that the rumor that is going on is that it's true that Neville's just going to be frozen out until his contract is up.
Basically, Neville is
kind of like the Rey Mysterio treatment.
Yeah, and also the Ryback treatment and the CM Punk treatment as well.
Yeah.
But for WWE to continue signing all this talent just so that they're not out there on the indies creating competition for WWE, I'm really not in favor of that. I think
if that plan is something like that, just to gather all the top talent and then just sticking in there in the WWE, if that is the original plan.
I mean, I wouldn't say that that's not a possibility. I mean, look at what they're doing with Cassius Guy came back to all this heraldry, and he's had precisely one major angle since he returned, and the rest of the time he's just been, having great matches with younger dudes to try and help them get over.
And the other would be the one where he's partnered up with Ruby Wright and
and part of Ty Dillinger's team.
Yeah, to face Sanity.
Yeah,
but yeah, I agree. I can see that. I can see the point.
Yeah. And for WWE to go as long as they did without letting Emma go until it came time that her contract was up, and they just decided to release her. I'm still thoroughly convinced that the reason they did that is because of the fact that they want to make sure that Emma's not going out there until the absolute last possible time to go out there and start having amazing matches in Shimmer and Stardom and WSU and Progress and all these other places. That's going to show, okay, yeah, she actually was an incredibly talented wrestler. The WWE completely mistreated and misused, and people are going to want to go and see her. Even the people who were fans of her from her days in the Indies already know all these things. And once once the rest of the crowd starts to realize it and say, oh yeah, actually she's actually really freaking good and is going to be an all-star. She's going to be the female equivalent of what Drew McIntyre did when he left and became Drew Galloway. And he went out there and became the friggin' star of the independent circuit around the world.
Well, Chris, I don't want to burn your computer up because of the overheating issue you have. So
I think I'm actually okay, but I know I'm talking for a while. I know I'm not mad about it. I'm just giving you an option here. No, it's actually I'm checking it now. It actually has cooled down quite nicely.
Awesome.
Very happy about that.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, but
you can stay or leave if you wish. That's up to you.
Let's do.
Are you having a good time or not?
Yeah, of course. I love talking to you guys.
I'll
hang out for a little bit.
All right. I just wanted to as long as I just want it to be known, we are not holding a gun to Chris's head. He's staying on his own volition and accord.
Since when are you holding someone with a gun in his head just to say, stay inside here?
You will be on our podcast, damn it.
Oh, I will? Good. You just opened that door.
I did. Hey, you know what? I'll make it known here now. I mean, we've already said it on our show, but I think probably for either for the Rumble or for WrestleMania or something in 2018, we're going to be having on my show, we're going to be having a big assemblage of podcasting talent from around our little community here to all get together and talk about one of those two events. So be ready for that.
Well, you're already quasi committed to next Saturday with us.
Yeah, it's all dependent right now on what my family commitments are for that day.
Well, I have someone in backup if I need them.
Okay. Yeah.
I have brother George.
Very good. So
he's the right-hander in the bullpen, warming up.
Either way, you're going to have some representation of two guys, one sport.
Of course.
What would it be without that?
Of course.
It was fun. He was only there for about an hour last time because he had to go help someone get a dog.
Yeah,
but it was fun.
He was crazy that morning.
I don't doubt it. He is oftentimes quite fired up about these things.
Both of you, seriously, both of you guys are fired up at any time of point.
Yeah,
Considering.
we get heated. We get heated about.
Yes, you do.
things.
And I love your matches of the week. Hell, what was it? Last week he didn't do it, but he asked me on Twitter for another match.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So I found him one.
I think he's going to be doing it next week. We opted to. I think we opted to have his match of the week last night be coverage on the AAW show that he went to, just because we had so much to talk about last night between New Japan and TNA and WWE and all sorts of other stuff.
On that note, I have to pray. On that note, I have to pray for myself because I am still trying to get booking for tickets for Wrestle Kingdom 12. So,
dude, you gotta go. You gotta do it.
I know.
Get the front row seats. I want to see you in the front row.
The only problem, it's hard to find anyone who's any place open. They're still trying to sell out fast, and I do want to buy one for my girlfriend and me just to go there. So considering that she's quite
just
excited.
make sure, just do us a favor.
What?
And remember what Jake the Milkman Milliman was going to do when he was at the last pay-per-view, TLC? He had a sign that said, "My sign is upside down," and he was holding it upside down, which would make the right side up.
Yep. He did.
Make a sign like that. Oh, that's right. They don't like signs over there, do they?
No, they don't. Unfortunately, they do not.
Oh shit.
That
would be cool. That would be
too
cool
bad.
Too bad. As much westernized as the Japanese audience for wrestling is, they're still quite polite.
Yes. And so much the better. That's one of the reasons why I prefer New Japan, is because the audience doesn't go into business for themselves.
Yeah, because as much as you don't like the booking, they're still gonna keep quiet. They're just gonna go, okay, this isn't good, but I can't say anything about it.
They're not gonna start throwing beach balls around.
Oh no. Unfortunately not, or fortunately not.
Fortunately not. I was gonna say, if you're pro beach ball, MDS, I'm gonna have some words for you.
Well, wait, he's at Nightly Mania. He's supposed to have a match with a beach ball.
And I'm putting the beach ball over.
Yes, he is. We just haven't set the date for Nightly Mania yet.
Oh my word!
But yes, okay, I am. But yes, technically, I am working a heel for that one. So technically, I am anti beach ball.
That would make you a face in my book, personally. I might have to run in and interfere in that match and pull Cesaro on that beach ball.
That's cool. I mean, here's the big question with Emma. Considering that we're gonna just pull it back quickly on you, Chris. Considering the fact that there's already rumors that her negotiations with Stardom has apparently been shut down, would you see her in Stardom?
I think that she's probably going to bring her figures down a little bit, but I do believe, yes, she will be there. But here's my thing. And I brought this up last night also on our show. For Emma to be going out there and asking for what she's asking for her matches on the independent circuit, you know what? Good for her for going out there and asking for that, and I hope she gets it, because it's high past time that the pay gap between male and female wrestlers was closed, and I'm certain that on a card where Emma could be a main event level talent, she should be getting paid more than a guy who on an equivalent indie card of either all male talent or mixed gender talent would be getting paid more than her normally. Emma should be getting more money than a guy who on an indie card is going to only be a mid carder or an opening match guy.
I agree. And we already discussed it with Taker, me and Taker. Her asking for that, her asking for those kind of extras like creative control and that asking price, I think it's fine, because considering the fact that she has been screwed by booking with creative going out of control with the character and all that, she should have a little bit more control of where she feels the character would go.
Yeah,
and considering the fact that she is also ex WWE talent. She basically learned the business since what, 2011? I think it was.
Like I said, we came to the agreement that she was FCW first before it was NXT.
Yeah, but even before that, I mean, she was she was out in Shimmer and on the Indies. Even before that, I want to say let me actually look up her.
I do believe she was at Shimmer before she entered FCW. So yes,
she absolutely was. Let me just look what the actual date is here. Yeah, she started her training around 2000 in 2005. She started at PWA Australia.
Yes.
So she's been in the business now for 12 years, and she trained extensively at Lance Storm's Academy in 2008 and 2011.
I forgot that she's a Lance Storm graduate. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, she started at FCW in 2011. Yeah.
So she has plenty of upside. Hello. This is not.
Hey.
There he is.
Hey there, folks.
Oh my God. You're having all sorts of characters.
Not pulling all people in today, Mr. Fitzpatrick here.
This is literally what
has been a co-host several times on the show, special guest, I should say, along with his partner.
I'm gonna put $20 in the tip jar right now. Fuck you, Taker. I gave you the whole reign, but oh my goodness, you blew
I'm pulling in the big names. I'm pulling them in. I told you I would.
I'm considered a big name.
You're a big name here, buddy.
Considering
Pat Fizz, you're the one that turned me on to doing this in the first damn place.
Well, you and the guy that's right next to you, Chris, are the two podcasts that, I kind of turned loose upon the world, I guess what you'd say.
Yeah. I was just saying last night that it's been almost a year since me and George did the Cage Side Speaks for Roadblock End of the Line, where he and I spent 2 hours just eviscerating that show.
2 hours, 45 minutes, I said in the live chat on your show.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening, this is something so surprising even for me. I mean, considering speaking, I already told Taker, fine, you can call in anybody. I didn't expect that the old guy would actually pull out a lot of names. What, are you making this an early breakfast show or something? We're having a show. We're having a show next week, goddammit.
I know. And Crazy Chris, as far as it looks like he's going to be here as long as his family stuff doesn't interfere.
Yeah.
And I've got Brother George in the bullpen if I need him. So there's that.
Bring in everybody.
Bring in everybody.
Take all comers. We'll take all comers.
Yeah, I asked George to come in this morning, but he's at work.
Yeah, he's stuck at work. Yeah.
Never mind.
Otherwise, he would be at his apartment probably engrossed in Borderlands 2 since I turned him onto that. He bought it for the PS3 yesterday.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
And we haven't really done a lot of Borderlands 2, to be honest.
Yeah, you and I, we gotta stream some of that.
We gotta do that
on my stream. Yeah.
I think it's just my fault not reaching out to you quite clearly. I think that's on me. Basically.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Make it work.
Certainly.
Sorry, Taker. Talking about games.
Yeah. Got the video game talk going now. We're
I don't care. It's fine.
Covering all topics on this podcast today.
Sure, why not? Well, I'm bringing in the big names. There's only one more person I wish I could bring, but unfortunately he doesn't have time, and that's Conrad. But
wait,
he may be there next week.
Okay, so even though this is going to be a little bit of a cameo appearance, how are you doing, Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I've got only a few hours sleep. My week has gone very well, honestly, and a lot of good things have happened. We did a show last night about the independent wrestling show that I went to last week, Frontier Wrestling's Rise of the Cobra. That show is now available. And then we had to do that on like 7:30, 8 o'clock because of actually it was 7:15. 7:15 we did that show because we had some scheduling things we had to move around. Next week's show, more of the same. There's a couple of things that both me and Sal have on our list that we may need to change around. So the Friday time slot might not be there. Maybe on the weekend. Who knows?
Wonderful.
Flexibility is the name of the game in our business.
Flexibility and a little bit of chaos, considering the fact that TakersMinion has already put that into view.
Yep.
as of about like 45 minutes ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next time I'm gonna pull not just the soundboard. I'm gonna pull the contact list away.
So anyway, for me, like most of you know, the last 31 days has been kind of a hectic month for me overall. I mean, we recently recovered our missing cat. It is
Oh, that's
safe
good.
now.
I'm glad to hear.
Yeah,
Glad to hear.
yeah. And in the course of doing so, on the 29 days I spent out of the 31 that I spent searching for the cat, managed to find a large amount of pots, pans, and a wok on the sidewalk for free.
Nice.
Yeah. And
All in
so
all.
all that, and then you have I replaced my hot water heater, and also as I said, went to that wrestling show last weekend.
That's awesome.
Awesome sauce.
Awesome. Pray for me for getting tickets to Wrestle Kingdom 12. Like I said, just let me get this little bit of luck. I barely missed out on last year's Wrestle Kingdom just because of scheduling conflicts with my girlfriend and all that. She unfortunately has work to do, and I can't go to Wrestle Kingdom without her because she is the bigger fan of NJPW than I do. So
Really?
yeah, she is. She's the one who
That's
actually
awesome.
kind of reintroduced me back to Japanese wrestling.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and
really
I thought that it would be like a disservice not to go without her last year, so I opted not to go. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I mean, she's the one who actually tells me that you should watch this, you should watch this, you should watch this, and tell me what you think, and then we'll dissect everything. She's a huge fan of Okada, and strangely enough, Lij. Strangely enough, Lij.
Who doesn't love Lij? I mean,
I'm a big Los Ingobernables mark for the one down in Mexico, for Christ's sake.
For CMLL.
Yes.
Yeah.
CMLL, that there is something else to see when Rush comes out, that people actually have bought cups of beer just to throw at him.
I believe it.
Oh yeah, he gets beer thrown on him all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it sells. Let's buy $1 beer just to throw at Rush.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, goodness gracious. What else? Okay. Where is my script? I think I lost my script about 45 minutes ago.
Yep, you did.
Nice. Nice.
When I brought Chris in, that just put the wrench in
The
his
script was still there. The script was still there, even though I think I accidentally cut that in half. And then suddenly, when you pulled in Fizz, okay, I think I lost it. That's it.
Threw it
That's
out the
all right.
window. So it's over.
We were you and I were headed towards NXT when Chris walked in. So
Yep, we lost that. Anyway, considering okay,
I still have the feeling that when we talk about NXT because of the promo. Well, first I only saw one match from NXT, and I saw it was the opening squash match with Heavy Machinery against two local jobbers.
Yes.
And then they did the backstage interview of Ember Moon, and they brought up Mercedes Martinez's name again.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings an interesting precedent on my point, and also as on Taker's point. Is Mercedes Martinez signed to NXT, or is she doing double duty just like Samoa Joe and a few other independent wrestlers?
Samoa Joe was signed with the codicil that he could finish up his independent dates.
Mm-hmm.
So he was competing in NXT and his independent dates, if I remember.
And wrapping up.
Is that not correct, Chris?
I believe so. Yes, he was signed with the ability to finish out his independent circuit dates, and then from once he was officially done with those, he was to come back and officially be on the show.
But I mean, okay, then the bigger question is Mercedes Martinez in, or is she just doing a one-time show before going back out to the independent?
I want to say she's probably only doing a one-time thing, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, because also because she's actually promoting Shimmer as well, the latest one. So
I mean, it'll be telling if she drops the title this weekend, because I mean, Shimmer's having their tapings this weekend, and they have a really big set of tapings planned. Aja Kong and Hiroyo Matsumoto are both showing up for the first time since back at Shimmer 74. I want to say when Tomoko Nakagawa had her retirement. So I believe that this is going to be a very significant event for them. And it's if Mercedes does drop the title, it's going to be very revealing as to what her status is going to be.
I agree. But I think I can go and side with the former than say that this is just a one-time thing. But again, yes, it's going to be telling with the status of Mercedes Martinez coming out still champion or still not a champion. So there is that as well. Yeah. And of course, okay, here's the biggest question. Are you guys liking the fact that Jinder Mahal already lost the title?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm hoping he doesn't win it back when they go back to India, but
I agree.
Overall, I'm perfectly fine with him losing the title.
I agree. I mean, I'm not going to go nitpick and say, oh, I'm gonna go cynical and say, oh, he's gonna win it back in India. Just going to look at it fan and say, Jinder Mahal finally lost the title. Thank God for that. Or there is a God. Or there is a God.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot. I think I could definitely agree that this week has been good for WWE as a whole. I mean, there's not much to nitpick or even eviscerate for that matter this week.
No. Quick question for the two new guys that are here, Chris and Fizz. Did either one of you see the 30 for 30 with Rick? About Rick?
No, I did not see it.
I don't have ESPN right now, so no, I didn't.
Chris, I suggest you watch it.
Yeah, certainly.
It is well done, in my personal opinion.
Question: have both of you read? Have you got the feedback on the 30 by 30?
I've seen a lot of feedback about it, and I've seen a lot of people say that it was very well done, but I don't know anything beyond that.
There's a group out there that's against it. That says that, it didn't tell everything. Well, it's not supposed to.
Yeah. I mean,
I made this statement early on in the show that Rick had a price to pay for his life, for his lifestyle and what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't him being in the hospital. Mm-hmm. It was his son passing away.
Mm-hmm. Son passing away, and like I think that somebody did an article, I can't remember where or when, but somebody did a chronicle of all of Ric Flair's spending habits from like about 1988 to about 2015-16, and like, geez Louise,
he's broke.
Just like
Rick is broke.
Yeah, of course he's broke. I mean, it's if a wrestler doesn't understand how to manage their finances and their economics and all of this other stuff that is important. And I know a guy who's from a farm town in North Carolina might not understand how to do that, unfortunately. He just didn't.
From Minnesota, but
sure, but same concept, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Back in those days, it wasn't unless you went to a high-end university, you didn't really know a lot about economics, or you were good with numbers and you were good with money. Ric Flair is not good with money.
No.
Okay. I could safely say that all four of us here in this room are considerably better with money than Ric Flair is.
Oh, definitely.
It's funny that you bring that up, Fizz, because I recall, I want to say maybe a month or so ago, independent wrestler Jordan Grace put out a tweet asking other people in the wrestling community how much money they saved from their bookings, and put together like an aggregate of their response, and basically said, if you don't have at least $5,000 set aside in savings at any given time as an independent wrestler, you are being incredibly foolish with your money. And it's scary to think about that the community is that hard up for cash at times. But that's the honest to goodness truth, is that these people, that their livelihood is not like those of us who have a 9-to-5 or a consistent day-to-day job. They live and die by their bookings, and they they have to be 100% certain that they're going to be able to continue to work from week to week. And if they end up with injuries or anything like that, it's tough. They've got a lot riding on their physical well-being, and that being able to keep their career consistent. And they need to have that money put aside. They need to have that savings available to them, or else they will be screwed. Plain and simple.
It's like you said, it's plain and simple, because in the world of professional wrestling, it's, these individuals are doing things that I wouldn't consider doing, standing out in the middle of the ring in spandex, trying to wrestle somebody else in spandex in a scripted match, and the lifestyle of a professional wrestler is traveling, partying, going to shows and bingo halls and ice arenas and, Legion halls and all this other kind of stuff. And it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of, risk of injury, risk of getting infection, risk of, getting in a car accident. There's a lot of risk involved being a professional wrestler, and I respect them for doing that. But at the same time, I would also like to start seeing some wrestlers start to move away from the hard partying, heavy drinking lifestyle aspect of a professional wrestler, and take a more of an abolitionist. What's the word?
Basically, what you're saying, Fizz, is do the Triple H.
Yeah. I mean, he quit. He quit. He's he didn't. He was the one member of the clique who didn't drink extensively compared to Sean, Scott, and Kevin. No, he was their designated driver.
To be completely honest,
he was.
Yeah.
He didn't drink, didn't do drugs. He's a workout maniac. He's all of that.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, nowadays, back then, the lifestyle was the hard and fast rule where you just take the blows as you go and just roll with it, for that matter. And the other insignificant things don't really matter. It's the next show, what's going to happen in the next show, how you deal with the next show, and the repercussions coming out from it. And thankfully, by now, people, the current generation of wrestlers are actually learning on be more responsible and be more manageable with the time that they have, because they already have a lot of stories and a lot of prime examples of what not to do as a wrestler. They already have that. And they know that when they get down to that bottomless pit, it's very, very hard to come back out from it.
Yep, 100%.
I mean, addictions of all varieties, surviving in this industry of wrestling. And I'm glad that they're taking the opportunity to try and make things better for professional wrestling overall, because that's the most important thing that needs to happen over the next several years. Is because if you want to get the mainstream people back into professional wrestling, you have to be honest with them. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with them, because they aren't fools, okay? They're not going to get fooled by your carny tactics. They're not going to get fooled by your insanity. I mean, let's look at the Donner Party of Professional Wrestling, for instance. Now based in Canada, of all places.
Yeah.
I just noticed the switch last week.
That pays people to come and be fans.
Yep.
I just noticed the switch from that last week, and I was thinking to myself, oh, wait a minute. Are they actually doing this in Canada now? Not from Orlando anymore? Oh, my God. And they're still not raking in enough money just to keep themselves afloat, which is a sad thing in and all of itself. But then again, they're still going to survive the nuclear holocaust, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Oh, God. Anyways, I have, unfortunately, considering the fact, I have to wrap this up quite early. We've been going on for about 2 hours and 30 minutes. which I think we can actually just push more if we want to.
I mean, if you want to rest, that's perfectly fine with me.
Yeah.
Patrick,
We are just here for your amusement.
For the 20th show of Shooting the Breeze, what your show is at, like 36?
Yeah, we just did episode 36 last night. Yeah.
and you guys at Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling is what, 32, 33?
34.
34. Okay, sorry, missed a few.
That's okay.
But anyways, thank you very much, because considering the fact that it's actually 3:36 in the morning for let alone me right here.
Yeah, you're a little bit more constrained by time than the rest of us, because you're, what is it? That's 14 hours ahead of the U.S. East Coast time. Yeah.
Yes, I am 14 hours ahead, considering, give or take your DST, daylight savings time, for that matter as well. But it was fun. Thank you guys so much for coming. Again, of course, TakersMinion is the one who he's my go-to network guy, basically. This is I should be thanking him for calling up you guys, considering. And thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 20 of Shooting the Breeze. For Crazy Chris, where can the other listeners get you?
Well, if you want to find me specifically, you can follow me on Twitter at CrazyChris576. If you want to follow 2Guys1Sport on Twitter, we are at 2Guys1Sport, number 2, number 1 in the handle. You can also look us up on YouTube and also subscribe to us on iTunes. And that's the best way to find us.
Yes, perfect, wonderful. And
your show is when?
Our show is on Friday nights. Normally it's on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Next week we're going to actually be broadcasting on Thursday, though, because of, again, my family commitments being what they are. I'm not really sure what that's going to entail for me.
Just let us know if you can make Saturday morning.
Yeah, I will know probably during the week next week what the plan is regarding what my family's doing. So.
Okay, well, I got a right-hander in the bullpen, so.
Yep. You got a ringer. You're calling in a ringer.
He's the ringer of the podcast division, guys.
Yep.
Where can they find you, Fizz?
Okay, they can find me at FizzPatrick14. Let me check my Twitter handle and see if that's correct here.
I believe it is correct.
So we do our shows on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, although the last several, Fitzpatrick14 is my Twitter handle. It's William Fitzpatrick's the name on the Twitter, and usually we're on at Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but we've had to change our times around the last couple of weeks. But you can find us on YouTube at the 14 FITZZ Patrick YouTube channel, which is linked in my Twitter account, as always. I will be sending off a playlist after the show is over, so you can check it out. The playlist currently has all the current revival episodes of Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling with my co-host, Sal Cusinano. Thank you all.
The originals as well.
Yes, and I have the original episodes from 2013 to 2015, also on the Classics edition, as well as the editorial reviews that I did during that time. It's very interesting to look back in the past of professional wrestling when I was doing those podcasts. You may even find a few shocking things, like I used to be a Seth Rollins fan.
Wow.
Oh, that is breaking news.
Wait a minute. You are? You used to be?
I used to be a Seth Rollins fan. That was before the insanity came from Seth Rollins.
Wow.
Wow. Considering the fact, 2Guys1Sport, Fizzy's Wacky World of Wrestling. If you guys are listening, please tune into these guys. These two shows are awesome. These two shows are very informative, especially 2Guys1Sport, even though they are very, very crazy at times.
Yes,
oh yeah, we're nonsense. We are pure nonsense. Just be prepared for that at all times.
I haven't. I'll have to admit I have not listened yet. I will tonight. Listen to both shows, or try to anyway.
This week's show is hilarious for all the right and wrong reasons.
God damn it, you guys! Man, I can't wait. I can't wait.
God damn it.
It's probably their typical great show in the end.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. And of course, Fitzpatrick with all his informative and analytical knowledge about.
And don't
wrestling.
forget this Fitzpatrick show, Fizzy's Wacky World, is the only one on here that I know of that covers sumo as well. That's an interesting thing to listen to. And I'm sitting here listening to these names going, okay. Really?
Go.
Okay.
As per the words of someone named Jay, who has been a host, who has been a guest.
I need to Google this.
Google this. You need to Google the
I'm
fuck
gonna look
out
him
of
up.
that.
That's the
Anyways.
running. By the way, Chris, that's the running joke we have with Lady J. You know who that is?
Yep.
When she first saw Shane McMahon come on and the crowd go nuts, she goes, "Who is this guy? I got to look him up.
Why is he dancing?
Why is he dancing? Who is this guy?
Why is he looking at Shane and Stephanie as if Vince and Stephanie as he knows them very well? I need to Google the guy. Anyways, Taker, time to wrap up. Where can they catch you, sir?
They can catch me on Twitter at Takers_Minion. They can also find me in the daily on K-Side as well as the nightly. And always here, like, subscribe, and promote this show. The more people we get to watch and listen, the better off we are. And MBS, where can they find you, kind sir?
They can find me on Twitter at BeckyGotBank666. Should I even change this by now? I have no fucking idea.
Leave it and credit the person that gave it to you. You must do that.
Swiss Last Kicker, thank you very much for the name. Goodness gracious, fuck God. But okay, you can catch me also on K-Chite Seats on the daily as well as the nightly. Fortunately, my schedule has been wrapped up and the busy states, so now I'm more than fine to join on both the nightly as well as the daily. You can also catch us on the official Twitter, Shootin the Breeze. That's Shootin without the G, the BREEZ #1 on Twitter. I'm sorry for not updating it as a lot. Now I'm gonna be regularly and constantly updating that. And before I forget, Taker again, #1. Happy Veterans Day to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yep. Happy Veterans Day, man.
Very happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service.
It was my pleasure to serve you guys.
Yep. And #2, we also have breaking news. One of our own, infamous Ambrose Alley, is going to team up with Prince Moxley Lopez, also known as Mox, to do a podcast.
Yeah, the Violent Wrestling Podcast.
Yes, it
should be coming along here soon. We don't know exact dates yet. When we do, we will definitely be promoting them. I take the credit for getting Ambrose Alley involved because I'm the one who put her on a podcast first, and she had a great time. So I took a page out of your book, Fizz.
Basically, Fizz, you created a monster who now creates a monster.
Yep. 17-headed monsters.
That you cannot cut the heads off. But I digress.
You cut one off and two come back.
Yep. But I digress. What's
that Greek? That's
the Hydra.
Hydra.
The Hydra. Yes, I couldn't think of it, but thank you guys for bringing it up.
You're welcome. All right. Anyways, this has been Shootin the Breeze, episode 20. Yes, we are 20. We're number 20 now. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for your support. Honestly, I wouldn't have made it without this guy right here, TakersMinion, who actually is the one who pulled me in. Now I'm definitely hooked. Definitely. I have to admit. And here's to another 20. Here's to another 30. Hopefully, we'll reach 50. I don't know how.
I can only imagine what our 1 year, 52nd show, 1 year anniversary show is going to be like.
It's gonna be a crazy ass. It's gonna be a crazy ass day.
Yes,
you still remember that we need to have a drink so that we can get drunk.
That might be our 1 year show. Our 52nd show, we'll probably do it drunk.
Nice. We might steal that for our show.
That's fine. Steal away. I would love to hear you and George both shit-faced drunk. I would love to hear.
Oh God. I mean, I honestly, I have to say, I can't say I blame George. I would not have blamed George if he had chosen to do this week's show absolutely piss ass drunk because after watching Bound for Glory, he probably needed several drinks just to cleanse his palate.
I agree.
I haven't seen it, and the more it sounds like I don't want to see it.
Oh, you don't.
Oh, you
Trust
don't.
me, you don't.
Well, I don't like TNA anyway.
Yeah.
Never mind.
This will not change your opinion.
That's why I said I would be willing, and I think you were here when I said that. I would be willing to go in and pay, get paid $150 to sit through a shit show.
He was there. But anyways, guys, this has been fun. This has been a wonderful 20th episode for us. For TakersMinion, I am Mr. Dr. Senju, and this has been a great week. So see you guys in the next week. We
See
are
you guys
going to be
next
live
Saturday.
next Saturday. So
Yep.
bye.
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 Bye.